Pasensya na po mga kaistorya ha, kung medyo malilimitahan ko po ang pagsasalita ko ngayon. Malilimitahan ko rin po yung mga shoutout kasi lalo na po mamaya pag nag-umpisa na hindi po tayo pwedeng nagsasalita o nag-iingay kasi baka po tayo ay matawagan po ng pansin. Ano po? Basta shoutout po sa mga solid po nating kaistorya sa buong mundo. Ano po, mabuhay po kayong lahat. Diyan sa Europe, sa Amerika, sa Canada, sa Alaska, sa Egypt, sa Middle East. Ano ho? Diyan po sa Cyprus, diyan po sa Macau, China, diyan po sa Russia, meron din. Diyan po sa Malaysia, sa Hong Kong, sa Thailand, sa Vietnam, sa Cambodia, sa Brunei, sa Taiwan, sa Singapore, maging diyan po sa New Zealand at sa Australia, at maging sa Hawaii po at diyan po sa Guam. Ano po, sa Amerika, shoutout po diyan sa inyo. Ano, maging diyan po sa Japan at saka po diyan sa South Korea. Shoutout po siyempre sa mga sulit po nating kaistorya sa Pilipinas, sa buong mundo. Shoutout po sa inyo lahat mga kaistorya. Ay, salamat po. Salamat po sa pupuri.
Magandang hapon sa lahat. It's my pleasure to call this Committee Legislative Franchise Hearing Order. So this is, may I ask the Honorable Gutierrez for the prayer.
For yourselves in the presence of the Lord, our Father in heaven, will be in the front.
Thank you very much, Gutierrez. Please take your seat. Good afternoon to our members, invited resource persons, guests, our audience here in the House of Representatives, and those following our proceeding at the Facebook page of the House. Welcome again to our meeting. The committee will resume today the hearing of House Resolutions number 230 and 1428 on the question acts of the Sunshine Media Network International SMNI, peddling fake news, baseless retagging of individuals, groups and organizations, and acts subject to various complaints against the media network filed and pending before the NTC, MTRCB, and the Kapisanan ng Broadcasters ng Pilipinas. We also consider the issues raised in the privileged speech of the Honorable David J.J. Suarez on the basis report of SMNI regarding the travel expense of the House Speaker, Ferdinand Martin Romualdez. Yesterday, the plenary acted on House Resolution number 1499 and authorized the Committee on Legislative Franchise to consider it in today's hearing. The members will be provided a copy of House Resolution number 1499. The SMNI is operating under the franchise agreement of Suara Sug Media Corporation pursuant to Republic Act 11422, approved on August 22, 2019, with a term of 25 years. The proponents asserted that SMNI violated the terms and conditions of the franchise and called for the Committee of Legislative Franchises to exercise its oversight function to determine whether the acts of SMNI is in violation of the franchise warrants its revocation. During the initial hearing, the members elicited from the resource persons of NTC, KBP, and MTRCB on the filing and pendency of cases against SMNI. They also agreed that the acts complained of may have violated Section 4 of RA 1422 on the responsibility of the franchise granting to the public. It provides, among others, that grantees shall not use its stations or facilities for the broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act, or seen, and for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of public interest, encourage or assist subversive and treasonable acts. In reviewing the franchise of Suara Sub Media Corporation in relation to the acts of SMNI, complaint of the committee considers the compliance with the terms and conditions thereon. There are provisions in the franchise that are obligatory upon the grantee, and by accepting the franchise, it is bound to faithfully comply with these obligations. Much is expected from media practitioners. Truth and accuracy are the very tenet of broadcasting, whether in delivering news, editorial, and expressing opinion. Considering the testimonies given and documents submitted, the committee shall determine whether the grantee can continue enjoying the privilege under this franchise. Sa ating mga kasamahan sa Kongreso, ang ating mga bisita at mga manonood ng FB page ng House of Representatives, ang pagdinig na ito ay patungkol sa prangkisa ng Suara Sub Media Corporation. Papakinggan po natin ang bawat upang bigyan ng linaw ang isyong pinagkakaloob ng Estado sa prebyong Suara Sub Media Corporation. Kaakibat sa prebyong ito ay ang pananagutan na inatang sa ating grantee. It cannot exercise the privilege with impunity and invoke press freedom as pretext for misinformation that may mislead the public. Nais kong bigyan ng diin.
Mahina po ang audio po talaga ng microphone po nila. Pasensya na po kayo.
Pamamahayag o ang malayang pagpapahayag. Ito ay ang malagang pagsusuri kung narapat ipagpatuloy ng Suara Sub Media Corporation bilang isang grantee. Kami po ay kaisa ng bayan sa pagpapalahad ng katotohanan at sumusunod ito kami sa tamang proseso ng pandidig ito. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Before we proceed, may direct the committee secretary to acknowledge the members in attendance and resource persons with us today. Comsec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's meeting, we have the following members in attendance. We have the Vice Chairperson, Representative Janice Pimentel, Representative Jervil Luistro, Representative Sarah Luz Kimo, Representative Robert Ace Barbers, Representative Joseph Stephen Paduano, Representative David J.J. Suarez, Representative Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Representative Alan T., Representative Agustina Dominique Pancho. We also have Representative Alfred de los Santos, Representative Francisco Jose Matugas, Representative Toby Chanco, Representative Alfred, Representative Faustino Inodi, Representative Ricardo Cruz Jr., Representative Dan Fernandez, Representative Christian Navia, Representative Romeo Acop, and Representative Antonio Ferrer.
For the resource persons.
For our resource person from KDP, we have Attorney Rudolph Steve Hularbal. From the MTRCB, we have Attorney Cesar Pareja. From the MTRCB, we have Attorney Abubakar Johari and Mr. Bobby Diciembre from MTRCB as well. We have from NTC, the Deputy Commissioner Alvin Blanco. From SBC, we have the General Counsel, Attorney Romuald Padilla, and Attorney Gerard Del Rosario. And with them, we have Attorney Mazer Martin Carnel. From from the SMNI, we have Attorney Mark Tolentino,
Nandito rin po sa
Attorney Rolex Sufrico,
congressman na po.
Ms. Lorraine Badoy,
Hindi po
and Sir
lalaki po po.
Jeffrey
Tabi ko.
Celis.
Ito, sir.
Private to.
Hindi po makakala
May we also recognize Honorable Lex Anthony Colyada, a member of the committee. And
Kalimutan ko.
Galing.
we also have from NTC, Attorney
Galing
Andy
yan.
Castillo.
Sa ano? Oo, limot ko din.
And also, we invited again Attorney Rico Domingo from the
One.
Thank you.
Interesado pala mga tao.
Thank you very much, Committee Secretary. Now, proceed to the interpretation. First, that I will recognize the Honorable David J.J. Silence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mr. Chair, I just want to start off from where we ended last hearing with regards to the news that Jeffrey Celis mentioned in their program. Mr. Celis, are you with us today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. When we ended our hearing last week, the statements I released was that we were treading on very dangerous grounds as the source, the resource person mentioned that his source emanated from the Senate. And I felt that it was important for us to determine who that source was, because it was also determined in last hearing that the statements issued by Mr. Celis in his program was false. And if indeed it is from the Senate, interparliamentary relations between the House and the Senate are now put in question. Because parang lumalabas, may naglilig ng hindi makatotohanang balita mula sa Senado patungkol sa House of Representatives.
Delikado yun.
At nung December 3, if I may be allowed, Mr. Chair, Senate President Subiri issued a statement. And if I may be allowed to read, he stated, "I have no knowledge whatsoever of anyone from the Senate leaking information to any reporter on any House matter. Until the concerned resource speaker names a Senate employee, there is no reason to believe that these allegations are anything more than intrigues being sown to create controversy and fake news. We respect interparliamentary courtesy and would not want to put a rift in the strong partnership that we have with the House, with the leadership and the members of the House. I would suggest that the House continue the investigation until they get to the bottom of this accusation and press for the concerned person to reveal the name of their alleged source in the Senate. Otherwise, the House can cite them in contempt. If they can prove it's an employee of the Senate, then we will initiate disciplinary action on those involved. Quote unquote from Senate President Miguel Subiri. So now, Mr. Celis, I would just like to reiterate my question. The source, please.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of this committee, may I be allowed, please, to manifest a statement of clarification before I proceed to answer the question of Honorable Congressman J.G. Suarez, because I believe that the statement that I am going to make as an opening premise to the answer that I should be giving to the Honorable Congressman will settle everything and clarify before the nation a very important statement that I want to make. Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed, please?
Before I allow you, I'd like to remind everyone that your oath
Yes.
has been administered in the last session, and this will continue up to today. So, you're under oath.
Yeah.
So, lahat po sabihin po natin ay ang katotohanan. Okay.
Can I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable ako.
meron pong katanungan si Honorable Suarez, di po ba?
Opo.
Hindi ba dapat sagutin lang ng resource person or witness yung katanungan muna
Okay.
bago siya mag-explain? Okay. Resource person.
Thank you for the reminder, Congressman Akop, sir. And to the members of this committee, I feel, and it is my right to state before this committee and the August Chamber of Congress, that this committee is not above the law. No one in government is above the law. We are a government of laws. I am protected under the Soto law. I have the constitutional right. I requested for record that I may be given competent advice and assistance of a legal counsel, and such right is guaranteed by the Constitution. And such right is also stipulated clearly in Section 12 of the Governing House Rules pertaining to committee hearing and conduct of investigation. And even if I am not in a court trial, the right to seek out counsel advice and assistance from a counsel is a part of principle of due process, a principle guaranteed by the Constitution. And I believe before I answer any further question, may I manifest respectfully and humbly before this committee that all the statements, even after under oath, in the absence of competent legal advice and assistance previously, may be granted to be stricken off the record because I believe my constitutional rights were violated.
Point of order. The answer manifestation of Mr. Sellers is out of order. 7, he is out of order because you cannot dictate this house and you cannot move. Only members that you ask members of this house.
Yes, I am explaining, sir.
No,
I am not moving.
no, your manifestation is out of order.
I am
Do
requesting.
not lecture us
No, I am
about
not
the rules
lecturing.
of this.
I am standing up for my right.
Mr.
I am standing up for my right.
Remember, we might take you contempt.
Then so be it. Your Honor.
You challenge us?
Yes,
Okay.
if that will be seen in the nation na walang karapatan ang mga invited guests dito na magpahayag, Your Honor, with due respect to you, I do not believe na ang kongresong ito ay lalabag sa karapatan
Mr.
ng
Chair,
mga
Mr.
mamamayan.
Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
I'm
So be it, Your Honor.
We're out of order. And what's the position of the chair?
I will not, Mr. Chairman, I will not give up my right
Mr.
to free speech and be respected under the Constitution because this August Chamber is obligated by law.
Sandali lang po.
Mr. Chairman,
Irene.
may I explain why I...
Yes, the Honorable Akop is recognized and I understand yung sinasabi po ng ating mga ng ating bisita. Pero alam po ninyo, kung ang ginagamit niyo po ay yung hearing nung huli at wala kayong representasyon, hindi po namin kasalanan. Kasalanan po ng mga abogado ng SMNI dahil sila mismo on record ang nagsabi na they are here to represent SMNI and not the anchors because dumistansya nga ho sila. Ang sabi nila, hindi po namin trabaho ang bigyan ng representasyon ang anchor. That's why nung humingi po kayo, ang pinaliwanag ko, hindi ho pwede sila magdepensa sa inyo. Dapat ho humingi kayo ng iba. Dahil hindi ho pwede sila magdepensa because they are on record. Under oath, ang sabi nila, kami abogado ng SMNI at hindi kami abogado ng mga anchor. Klaro po yan, Kyrie.
Your Honor, if I may please.
You're not allowed. I'm going, yes.
I'd just like to explain why I cite him out of order. Because he manifested that the previous records should be taken out of records. And as resource person, they are not allowed.
Your Honor, I am going to be
I am
detained in this chamber and I am submitting myself before the country in protest my constitutional rights are violated in this committee. I'm
Mr.
sorry to
Porter,
say,
Mr. Chairman.
let me be
Mr.
detained
Chairman,
in this
point of
chamber
order.
and be cited in contempt.
Mr. Chairman.
I will not participate if my constitutional right will not be guaranteed. You are not here
Mr. Chairman.
to decide for my
please,
constitutional right.
please, let me finish.
There's a point of order, the Honorable
Let
Dan
me
Fernandez.
finish. What I'm saying,
The Honorable
I am not telling you to stop.
Mr.
What
Chairman,
I'm saying
point-
is,
Mr.
my
Chairman.
out of order. Sandali, makinig ka. My out of order is all about your manifestation to straighten out. Patapusin mo ako.
Yes, sir.
Huwag ka may bastos.
Hindi ako bastos.
Patapusin mo ako. Mr. Chairman, I would just like to correct. I am not stopping him to issue statement. What I'm saying is, and what I'm pointing out over there is the manifestation that the previous statement, the previous record, should be taken out of order. And another rule is not allowed to do it.
Point of order.
Yes, the Honorable Dan Fernandez on the point of order.
May we remind the resource speakers and the members of this committee to observe the proper decorum.
Correct.
If the chairman acknowledge a certain personality, let him speak and
Yes.
don't interrupt
Correct.
the members of this committee while the member is given the right to speak. Maraming salamat po, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Honorable Ako is recognized.
Mr. Celis, please be reminded that in this committee and this house, we have rules to follow. Hindi po ba namin sinusunod yung mga rules? Matanong ko nga ako.
Yes, sir. I feel that
And
is my...
I would like to remind you that these rules are supposed to be followed by members of this committee and by the witnesses or resource persons to be present. And one of these rules is that before you can speak, you ask permission from the chairman. Kami nga, hindi kami nagsasalita na walang permission yung chairman. You better follow that rule. Otherwise, baka mapilitan akong gawin yung hindi ko dapat gawin. Thank you.
The Honorable...
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair. Oh,
Yes. Wait, I think the Honorable Ace Barbers.
I was raising a point of order earlier, but
I'm
Congressman
sorry, I
Ako-
didn't hear you that.
It's okay,
My
Mr.
apologies.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, kasi gusto ko lang i-refresh yung memory ng ating resource person na no one is curtailing your right. In fact, kaya ka nga nandito, binibigyan ka ng panahon, ng oras para magsalita. But do not play to the crowd saying that your rights are violated in this committee. It's not. Tayo ay nasa demokrasya, di ba? I believe you were a former member of the NPA. Di ba? At alam mo kung ano yung pinaglalaban natin dito, di ba? So, never, ever insult the committee, much more any of the members of this committee. Kasi medyo yun ang affront. Yun ang approach sa amin. And do not challenge us to do what we feel is right to do to you because you might not like it. I'm just going to remind him of that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
The Honorable Ace Barbers. Any
Mr.
other
Chair.
member that would like to speak?
I believe that this is an aid or an inquiry in aid of legislation, and resource persons should be reminded that they should observe proper decorum. I'd just like to remind all the resource persons that under Section 11, this inquiry, or for that matter, Congress has the power to contempt. The committee may punish any person for contempt by a vote of 2/3 of the members present, there being a quorum. And there are 6 grounds for contempt, one of which is letter A, acting in a disrespectful manner towards any member of the committee or any misbehavior in the presence of the committee. So, Mr. Chair, we do not want to cite a resource person for contempt. Kaya nakikiusap kami sa iyo, Ka-Eric, na kung pwede, please respect this committee and observe proper decorum. Nasa rules po natin na you cannot speak if you are not recognized by the chair. Actually, naka-strike 1 na po kayo, Ka-Eric. Kanina, you were not recognized by the chair but you kept on talking. So again, may I advise Ka Eric, we are not suppressing your rights, but also respect this committee and observe proper decorum.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, if I may continue.
Well, there was a question raised by the Honorable Suarez. Alam po niyo kay Rick, kung meron po kayong karapatan, may karapatan din pong committee. Lahat po tayo may karapatan dito. So ang tanong ko, yes or no? May tanong ko si Congressman J.J. Suarez, huwag na po natin pahabain. Yes or no?
I will refuse to answer, Your Honors, not because I disrespect this committee, but I will invoke my right guaranteed by the Constitution because I believe this committee cannot be above the law, especially the Constitution.
Can I just...
The Honorable
Mr.
J.J.
Chair,
Suarez.
what right is that you are invoking, Mr. Celis?
The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights guarantees me for the guarantee of due process and even the Soto law and even the House rules. Constitutionally guaranteed rights, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, cannot be violated by any branch of the government.
Ka Eric, may katanungan. Is that clear? Alam po ninyo, Ka Eric, meron ba kayong kasamang abogado din?
May I answer?
Opo.
That's why I am requesting since last hearing that I may be given the counsel. Now, I will hire.
Alam niyo, if you keep going back, last year, tanong ko na yun.
I will hire Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Soplico as my personal choice.
Okay.
To do
So,
legal counsel.
everything that you say now is guided by your lawyer,
Not
who's
yet.
also here.
Not yet, sir, because they are not, Mr. Chairman, permitted and granted authority to be recognized as my legal counsel. That's why I'm
So, I am
requesting.
asking you, who is your lawyer in this case?
I'm hiring today, this afternoon, Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Soplico.
Are the lawyers accepting that mandate? Because you remember, in the last hearing, you manifested that you are not representing Ka Eric and the anchors because of the disclaimer issue. Are you accepting?
I'm accepting, Your Honor.
Attorney Rolex Suplico.
I am accepting, Your Honor.
Okay, so thank you very much. So everything that will be said, no, Ka Eric, may abogado na po kayo. Yes or no?
May I request again, Congressman Honorable J.D. Suarez to rephrase the question, please.
Now, with the presence of your lawyer, it's just a little bit ironic that in the past few days, you've been on air talking about the hearing, talking about your opinions on about the hearing, and together with Attorney Mark Tolentino, I think there was a few episodes na magkasama pa kayong dalawa. So you're very vocal and you're very opinionated about your position. And last hearing, I just want to remind you, you apologized to the committee because the statements that you issued in your show, kasama ang bayan, tama po ba yan?
Yes, Your
Laban
Honor.
kasama ang bayan. Humingi ka man ng paumanhin dahil yung sinabi mong 1.8 billion ay walang katotohanan. Sinabi niyo yun. Ngayon, sinabi mo, ang source mo ay galing sa Kongreso. Sinabi ko mula sa House of Representatives, ang sabi niyo po ay hindi po House. Dalawa po yung House, Congress at Senate. Sinabi nyo, kinonfirm nyo na lalaki na taga-Senado. Ngayon po, naglabas na po ng statement, mismong Senate President na ang nagsasabi. Hindi lang ito nanggagaling sa amin, although I am pressing hard that I want you to reveal that source because we want to find out the truth. Mr. Celis, the truth, and nothing is more important than the truth. So, I'm asking you nicely, who is your source?
May I qualify, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to speak?
Yes, but before that, I'd like to remind you and the lawyers that under Section 13, the participation of counsel in this hearing for the witness during the hearing and while the witness is testifying shall be limited to advising the legal rights of the witness. Is that clear? Attorney Tolentino and Attorney Suplico.
Yes, Your Honor.
That will only limited to that. Wala ko tayong coaching dito. Yes. And Kyrie.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the recognition. Congressman Suarez, sir.
Please answer straight
Yeah.
directly, ha? Wala ko tayong paligoy-ligoy na sagot ko dito.
Mr. Chair, there's something.
Okay.
There is something.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. No,
Go ahead, go ahead.
no.
Please.
Just want to be enlightened. What is the decision of? What is your decision regarding the prior motion made by Congressman Duano?
Well,
There's a motion.
Point of order.
No.
He only made a point of order. So he was declaring him out
Thank
of
you,
order.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, proceed. Yes or no?
Yeah, thank you po, Mr. Chairman.
Please answer directly, ha? Huwag tayo masyadong
I will not answer it because I am protected by law as per advice in conference with my lawyers here. I am protected by the SOTO law. Unless the SOTO law is repealed, I will be under the protection of the SOTO law. Republic Act number 53.
Mr. Chair, okay.
And the previous statements made, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, please, were made without the competent advice of legal counsel. That's why I was requesting humbly for this honorable committee chaired by Congressman Tambuntin that all those testimonies regarding the testimonies I made here can be stricken off the record if it may be considered as a request.
Okay.
Because those are inadmissible.
Tanong po ako. Kala nyo, lagi nyo sinasabi yung SOTO law. Ano pong portion ng SOTO law ang tinutukoy nyo? Anong particular provision sa SOTO law? Pakibasa po.
I will, Mr. Chairman, I will request my counsel to give me the particular provision, or they may be allowed to reference the particular
No, we are
provision.
requesting you.
I don't have the copy of the SOTO.
Then I will suggest that the council give him a copy of the SOTO law. Because we do not, you're only supposed to, like I said earlier, hindi ko kayo pwede magsalta. Yan magsalta si Kyrie.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to read the pertinent provision from the SOTO? Without prejudice, this is section 1 of 11458 as amended. Without prejudice to his inability or ability under the civil and criminal laws, any publisher, owner, or duly recognized or accredited journalist, whether reporter, writer, contributor, opinion writer, editor, columnist, manager of media, or other media practitioner involved in the writing, editing, production, and dissemination of news or mass circulation of any print, broadcast, wire service organization, or electronic mass media, including cable TV, television, and its variants, cannot be compelled to reveal the source of any news item, report, or information appearing or being reported or disseminated through other or the said media which was related in confidence or reported in confidence. Above mentioned media practitioners, unless the court or the House of Representatives or the Senate or any committee of Congress finds that such revelation is demanded by the national security of the state.
Para lang muna siya sa binabasa niya eh.
Mr. Chairman, can I explain
Dapat hindi ko na binasa yung
We
provided.
have to answer first the position raised by the witness. Ang unang provision sinabi nyo, accredited journalist.
Hindi naman siya accredited.
Kayo ba'y accredited journalist?
Hindi.
Kyrie, kayo po ang tinatanong ko. Kayo po ba'y accredited journalist?
The accreditation or the license to practice journalism does not require any particular organization or government entity to give us license or accreditation for broadcast. If you are referring, Mr. Chairman, to KBP, membership to KBP is voluntary. KBP is not an absolute regulatory power for broadcast.
So ano
They are like an NGO and private organization.
Ano pong basihan nyo? Ano basihan ng provision niya? Noong sinabi niya kailangan accredited, kayo nag-cite ng batas. Kayo nag-cite ng prohibition.
Mr. Chairman,
Accredited journalist, hindi ho kayo, sino dapat mag-accredit sa inyo?
SMNI is an accredited and franchise-granted media. And therefore, the prerogative and the decision for editorial decision who can broadcast or cannot broadcast in their station rest with the franchise granted to them. Therefore, hindi po kami required na maghingi ng pahintulot sa gobyerno na mag-broadcast kami doon. Dahil kami po ay bahagi ng isang media organization na may legitimate existence as granted by franchise.
Yes, but remember, may disclaimer din na, kung yan ang gagawin na agreemento, may disclaimer po last hearing yan. Ang sabi ng SMNI, hindi po nila pananagutan ang gagawin nyo. At hindi na nga raw kayo empleyado, sabi nila. So, ergo, hindi mo namin agad-agad kaya tanggapin yung inyong mungkahi. Pangalawa, I would like to remind you that this is a house inquiry which is provided for by the SOTA law. And third, tatanungan ko, security of state, binanggit nyo. Ano po ibig nyo? Ito ba yung security of state? Tingin nyo itong issue to, which is an exception.
Ang 1.8 billion na pagtatanong ko po, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, ay hindi po threat to national security. Kapag ito po ay tinatanong ng mga media practitioners at ng mamamayan patungkol sa tamang pangangalaga sa pondo ng bayan. And I believe Congress is not exempted from public transparency and accountability in the disposal of public funds.
Alam po
And
ninyo,
that is not an issue of public national security.
Yes. Huli, katanungan. Alam po niyo yung security of state sa amin. Ito po yung sinabi nyo na empleyado ng Senado ang nagbigay sa amin. Yan po ay seguridad ng ating institusyon, seguridad ng ating bayan. So kaya po, ito po ay hindi nyo po pwede i-cite ang SOTA law. Mabuti po, malaman nyo na po ang posisyon. At ito, pinag-aralan po natin, may abogado po kayo, dahil din po kami mga abogado dito, may mga researchers po kami. At ang SOTA law ay hindi po applicable dito sa sinasite nyo. Sa tatlong diyanong po, pare-pareho, hindi po pwede yan. The Honorable DJ
Thank you very
Suarez,
much.
you are next.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So let's just go back to points that have already been established. Number one, the statement that you issued were false. You admitted it and you apologized for it last hearing. Number two, you mentioned that your source is from Senate. And Caselis, Mr. Celis, the law that you have just stated that you sought to use to protect your right and not to reveal your source apparently has been ruled cannot be applied. So therefore, I'm asking you again, dahil may kinalaman na to, may mabigat po ang kinalaman, ang repercussions nito. You're talking about interparliamentary relationships between the House of Representatives and between the Senate. And none other than the Senate President has already issued a statement about this. So I don't think you see the gravity of the statements that you have issued between both houses in Congress. Now, Mr. Celis, for the last time, please identify your source.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to answer?
Mr. Chair, this is the fourth time I asked Mr. Celis this question. And every time I asked him this question, ang laki ng introduction, wala pa rin yung sagot. Pwede po ba this time, pag pinagbigyan natin sa magsalita, sabihin niya na po yung pangalan?
Kasi kung mag-introduction lang kayo, tapos i-cite na naman, dinisalaw ko na. Sinasabi ko na hindi yung namin kayang tanggapin yung SOTA law for this particular issues. And we provided the basis for that too. Sa mga binigkas yung provision, doon ko mismo hinugot ko yung argumento namin. Ngayon, kung hindi ko yung sasagot, we will not allow you anymore. Kasi nagre-request si Congressman Suarez ng kasagutan, pangalan ang kailangan niya.
Mr. Chairman,
Magbibigay po kayo mo ng pangalan o hindi?
may I request that I be allowed to confirm with my legal counsel, please?
Oh, they're right beside you. They can confirm.
May I request for at least a
Yes.
1-minute conference with them?
Please.
Saan yung committee? Ayun, si Madam Justice.
Mr. Chairman,
Session
may I recognize
issues.
again.
Okay, please proceed.
In our constitutional democracy, only the courts can interpret the laws, not Congress.
Okay.
So I will not answer that question because I believe Congress does not have the right to interpret laws.
Okay.
It is with Congress to pass laws, but not to interpret.
Salamat po.
I take back my statements.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, this is the Honorable Toby Campos, recognized.
Mr. Chair, in the sense of fairness, since we really want to know the source, para malaman natin kung ano talaga yung pinagkakalat nito, would we allow Mr. Celis, Eric, to reveal the source in executive session? Would the chair allow?
Yes, Eric. It's an executive session, an option for you. It's an executive session, an option for you. There's a suggestion by the Honorable Toby Chanco of Navotas na kung ayaw po sabihin sa harap ng camera at sa publiko, okay lang ba, executive session? We will call for executive session now. Para lahat po ng options ay binigay na po natin sa inyo. Eric.
That would be very dangerous for other media practitioners present here because it will create a very dangerous and negative precedence on the protection of source provided by law. I will refuse it.
Salamat po.
Mr. Chair,
The Honorable Toby Chanco is still recognized for a follow-up question.
No, I just wanted to manifest that the reason that we're suggesting an executive session is to show na tayo naman, hindi naman tayo, na binibigyan natin siya ng pagkakataon na i-reveal. Kung talagang gusto niya pangalagaan, at least an executive session. But it seems ayaw niya pa rin po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, it is very clear that Mr. Celis does not want to answer the question to reveal the source, whether in this inquiry or in executive session. So therefore, Mr. Chair, under Section 11, the power to contempt, letter E, grounds for contempt is for a resource person
Papa-contempt.
refusal to answer any relevant inquiry. Actually, Mr. Chair, Mr. Celis has already violated two provisions of Section 11. The first one, acting in a disrespectful manner, and the second one, which is very more important rather, is his refusal to answer the question in a relevant inquiry. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to contempt, to cite for contempt Mr. Celis for on these two grounds under Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion.
Second the motion.
There's a second. Any objection? There's a motion, duly seconded. Any objections from any member, Mr. Chairman, of this committee? There being no objections, on a unanimous vote, the Eric is cited for
Na-contempt si Eric.
Mr. Chairman, can we request the Sergeant at Arms to practice his responsibility after the hearing? Because there's still other details.
May resource person tayo. Kinontempt lang si Eric.
Point of order.
Na-contempt si Eric, mga kaistorya.
The motion was for Mr. Celis to be cited in contempt. And I think there's supposed to be a second motion. Yes. No, the motion should be for him to be detained. Where? Because under our law, the contempt of the committee shall be deemed contempt of the House. The person cited in this section may, upon order of the committee, be detained in such place as the chairperson or acting chairperson may designate. In other words, we have to decide where to detain him and for how long, Mr. Chair. That's supposed to be the second motion.
Mr. Chair, I believe with regards to the duration, it will be up to this committee to decide, and of course, to Mr. Celis, kung kailan po niyo sasagutin yung tanong natin, and then maybe we could lift the contempt. But as long as hindi pa niya sinasagot yung tanong natin, the contempt will remain.
Mr. Chairman, final statement before you po may kulong.
Mr. Chair, I move for
Can I have a final statement? Before po ako makapakulong, I request the committee.
Mr. Chair.
President, the Honorable Pinalagpas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In an earlier motion, Mr. Chair, we have already approved to cite for contempt Mr. Celis. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to detain him in the premises of Congress as per our rules on Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion, duly seconded, the chair objections. The motion of the Honorable Pimentel is, okay? So,
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee, may be given 1 minute, please.
In relation to the motion,
Oh.
can I have?
Because it is required
the Honorable
two-thirds po ang boto.
Paduano, the Honorable Paduano is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, ang ano lang, point of inquiry lang, kasi we are not allowed to have a detention for indefinite period of time. So we have to establish how long. And the lifting of such detention will depend on the members of this committee, of course, the cooperation of the person in contempt. So we have to establish how long, because we are not allowed to detain indefinitely based on so many jurisprudence, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Ako, Secretary.
Yes, there's a decision by the Supreme Court that we cannot detain a person indefinitely. And therefore, may I move that we come up with a definite period for detention insofar as Mr. Celis is concerned. For violation of paragraph C of section 11 of the rules.
The Honorable Ako, would you like to make a motion?
May I move that Mr. Celis be detained for being cited in contempt for violation of Section 11, Paragraph C, refusal to answer any relevant inquiry by the members of this committee for a period of 30 days?
Mr. Chairman.
He will go on break on December 30 unless he files a motion for reconsideration. We have done this in the different committees already.
Mr. Chair,
There's a motion.
the reason why we cited Mr. Celis for contempt is because he does not want to answer the question. That is precisely why he violated paragraph C. So why would we give him a timeline? Eh kung kahit hindi pala siya sumagot, papalabasin natin si Mr. Celis. The reason why we cited for contempt, eh gusto nga natin nasagutin niya yung relevant inquiry natin, nasagutin niya kung sino yung source niya.
Exactly.
So I believe that we should not give a timeline, Mr. Chair.
After finding the jurisprudence, Mr. Chair, I submit to the wisdom of this committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, session is suspended.
Dito, wala pa.
Nagkainitan, mga kaistorya. Nagkainitan. So, sinight po ni Ka Eric yung Sotolo na kung saan ang ipinaglalaban niya ay for the accredited journalist. But the truth is, alam naman natin lahat na hindi po siya accredited po na journalist, so hindi po niya pwedeng gamitin yun pong Sotolo. Ano po? Tanong mo po tayo?
Ilang minutes yan?
Depende kung kailan nila re-resume. Wala nang laman.
Wala kasi tayong principal. Dalawang hearing ni Franz ngayon. Dalawang form second naghahanap sa kanila.
Malamang may sunod pa na hearing ito. Hindi na matatapos na yun.
Isa si Madam.
Hindi masabot. Ang tanong, okay. Okay.
Kagurin lang malakas. Mambabatas. Anong malaki? 2.8. Mansen next day. Bukas daw. Sa Bukas daw. Dito na kami tulog. Oh, dito na tayo natulog. Bukas daw is Philippines.
Dito na tayo tumira.
Sarap. Bro, pagkatapos reaction video na naman. Tatlo tayo, no? Sa isang video. Parang, anong masasabi natin? Grabe, nag-iinit yung issue dito. Grabe, ang init ng issue dito, guys. Kaya huwag kayong sabukan si Art na nanahimik ko, pero 400,000 $400,000 sa kanya. Saan si RTV? Guys, palike and subscribe. Ayan na guys. Ayan na mga kababayan. Kaya palike and share na ito.
Session resumes.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, before I acknowledge the Honorable Pimentel, the due process was given to the witness and he was allowed to speak. And he cited his ground. We gave him so much refusal to the question of the Honorable Suarez 4 times. And so, that being said, the chair would like to call the Honorable Pimentel to manifest his the motion on the time frame.
Mr. Chair, I would like to amend my previous motion. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I move to detain Mr. Celis or he was cited in contempt until the adoption of the committee report at the plenary session, Mr. Chair. So moved.
Okay, so that is also an amendment to the motion of the Honorable Akop early on. There's a motion amending the motion of the Honorable Akop. Any second? Seconded? The chair hearing no objection, the chair adopts and approves the motion of the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. So the Sergeant of Arms is hereby directed to enforce the decision of this committee.
Mr. Chair, can I make a comment, Mr. Chair?
Session suspended. Attorney Tolentino.
Thank you for this report.
Session suspended.
Thank you for this report. Thank you for this report.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, can I make a comment, Mr. Chair? So under the rules, Mr. Chair, there's a requirement that 2/3 of the members present, there be a quorum. So there must be a quorum. And a vote of 2/3 of those present, Mr. Chair.
Well, Mr. Chair, obviously that this is a, anyway, we're
And second, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Tolentino, there is a quorum, it is a unanimous vote. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chair, I don't think the legal counsel SFNI has no right to question the quorum. It's only the members who can question the quorum. You have no right, you're only a resource person.
Okay, so
You
anyway.
better keep quiet or we will cite you to contempt also.
I think, Mr. Chairman,
Okay, session
May we ask Attorney Supligo to brief Attorney Tolentino of the House rules? You're very much aware and well versed with the rules of this House.
because Attorney Suplico used to be invented some, has implemented some of the rules that we are now implementing. As a matter of fact, in one of the invitations that he was the resource person, sabi ko nga, nung bata ko, narinig ko ng pangalan na Rolex Suplico. Elementary pa lang ako. Ganyan po kasi kadyan. Kaya lahat ng ginagawa namin, si Atty. Suplico rin ho, alam mo niya lahat yan. Okay, maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chair,
Okay,
I think I still do have the
The
floor.
floor is still with the Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, can the chair please reiterate the due process that the committee followed in relation to the contempt order that was issued against Mr. Celis? Isa-isa lang natin para klaro.
Well, there was a, he was allowed to speak. 4 times you asked the question. The Honorable Suarez asked the question. 4 times he refused to reply. And the Honorable Chanco even afforded him a executive session. And again, he refused. So obviously, he will refuse to answer any question that Honorable Suarez will ask, and he would always cite a law which is unacceptable to this committee because it does not, it is not the intent of that law.
Okay.
He cannot hide under that.
Thank you
That's
very
what the
much.
committee is saying.
Yeah, the reason why I asked Mr. Chair is because, going back to our last
And
hearing.
lastly, he was given a counsel.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
last hearing kasi, inamin niya na mali yung source niya at humingi na siya ng pumanhin. So para gamitin pa yung SOTO law, it's not anymore applicable to him because sinabi niya ng mali. Ang hinihingi na lang natin kung sino. Kung sino dahil may kinalaman po ito sa relasyon ng mababang kapulungan at ng Senado. At pati po Senado, I won't be surprised kung kayo po ay magpupumilit na hindi magsasabi ng totoo, I won't be surprised if the Senate might conduct their own inquiry into this matter as well. Because you have already involved the Senate into this misinformation and fake news. So, Attorney Tolentino, as counsel to Mr. Celis, are you willing to cooperate with the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Earlier, I was a little bit offended. Your client stood up and uttered some words. Are you supportive with that, with your clients?
I'd like to
Do you
apologize.
share the same sentiment as your client, Attorney
What
Tolentino?
statement, Mr. Chair?
When he called the court kangaroo court, when he called the Subika kangaroo,
Maybe that's his opinion, Mr. Chair.
and you do not share it,
No, Mr. Chair.
do you think it is right?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair, because I believe still there's attorney-client privilege. I cannot talk if not authorized by a client, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So anyway, Mr. Tolentino, as counsel to Mr. Celis, would you be kind enough to share with us any information regarding the source of that misinformation, fake news that SMNI broadcasted in your television show?
I have no personal knowledge that, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Badoy, would you have any knowledge on who the source is?
Mr. Chair, no knowledge at all.
Do you know Mr. Celis' phone number?
Yeah, I have his number.
Would you be kind enough to share it with this committee?
No, that is a privilege of the person.
Lawyers, if I could do that.
Personal rights yun ang ano.
I'll give it. So I'm allowed.
Dapat tanungin muna si Ka-Eric
Mr.
kung
Chair,
payag
is the
siya.
guest list outside? Yeah, all of us.
Again?
Can you just,
The number, Mr.
can
Chair.
you just tell us the number, please? As requested by the Honorable Suarez.
Yeah, okay. Right now, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, it's 09.
Wait,
Say, please,
naka-media.
can you please
Naka-media, dapat doon.
approach the Honorable Suarez?
Para hindi na lang ano.
Alanganin yan, dapat hindi naka-broadcast.
Ano yun, ulan?
No, siguro. O aircon. No, ulan siguro.
Majority leader, Jay Suarez.
Nagtoke na siya ng
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the reason why I asked for those phone numbers is, other than citing the source of Mr. Celis emanating from the Senate, he mentioned that he also received a text message supporting that claim on Monday. And if I'm not mistaken, the date would have been November 27, but I'll have to check my records. Mr. Chair, can I move to subpoena the text messages of that phone number? Just to know whether or not meron po ba talagang pumasok na text na nagsasabi na ganito kalaking kahalaga ang ginastos ng House of Representatives. Kasi kung lalabas sa phone records na walang text at ayaw sabihin ni Mr. Celis yung pangalan, maaaring gawa-gawa lang itong mga pinag-uusapan natin dito at walang basehan. So, Mr. Chair, I move that we subpoena the messages from these two phone numbers on the specific date when those broadcasts was aired on SMNI. So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by the Honorable David J.J. Suarez, seconded by the Honorable Vice Chair Johnny Pimentel. Any objections? The chair, no objections. The motion is approved. We'll now proceed.
Yes, just for the information of the body, Mr. Chair, it is on 11/27,
Wala po si Kong Marcoleta dito.
2023, and the show was aired, I think at 10 in the afternoon, in the 10 in the evening, correct? Morning, 10 in the morning. So, with that being said, Attorney Tolentino, can I just ask, nasa na po yung,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
yes, yung presidente ng SMNI?
Mr. Chair, Actually, he wants to come here, Mr. Chair, but he has a sick right now, Mr. Chair. I have with me a medical certificate, Mr. Chair.
So, but you will be speaking on his behalf?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but of course, I have a limited authority, Mr. Chair.
So, okay, anyway, Mr. Chair, if I may proceed, just a few questions, then I'll give it to the other congressmen who have more questions.
Thank you. May I ask
Can
if
I
you...
just one question?
Yes, before that, when you said you have limited authority, what does that mean?
I'm here, Mr. Chair, as legal officer of SMNI.
So,
I can only talk based on my personal knowledge, Mr. Chair. I cannot talk anything that I do not know, Mr. Chair.
how about the attorney Rolex Suplico? So if he knows half, he should know the other half.
The same, Your Honor, we are only legal officers of SMNI. Mr. Rossetti is the president of SMNI. Definitely, there are information that he knows that we do not know.
Okay, so if we don't, okay, let us make this clear. If we're not satisfied with your answers, then we will call for another hearing in a couple of days just for this issue. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Suarez.
Can we be kind enough to be given a copy of that medical certificate that you're talking about, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mr. Chair, the medical certificate is with the secretary, who is now with Ka-Eric, Mr. Chair. With the secretary of SMNI, who is now with Ka-Eric.
Why is the secretary with Eric when
He
or she was cited in contempt? That's why Eric.
She's on the way.
Anyway, pwede nyo naman bigay siguro mamaya.
Yes, we will not adjourn this hearing or
So-
suspend it until we get the copy of the certificate. Thank you, please.
Submit na lang. Thank you, Attorney Tolentino. Attorney Tolentino, how long have you been serving as counsel for SMNI?
Maybe more than 2 or 3 years, Mr. Chair.
So in any major decision that the network takes, I'm sure they seek your advice?
Just an advice, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fantastic. I just came across some posts of SMNI partnering with the Chinese government network. Is this correct?
I have no personal knowledge of that, Mr. Chair.
But you're the lawyer of SMNI.
I only know something that is relevant to the investigation, Mr. Chair. I didn't know about that, Mr. Chair.
No, but it's all over the SMNI Facebook, well, SMNI Twitter, and news report that you have partnered with the Chinese government national TV. So,
I try my best, Mr. Chair, to answer only answers that I know personally, Mr. Chair.
and you have no knowledge of that.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So how do you serve as counsel when something such as big between two networks cooperating and you have no knowledge of it whatsoever? I don't understand how the relationship works. Kasi
because I'm not the only lawyer.
Usapin na may kinalaman sa dalawang korporasyon at ikaw ang abogado, hihingi ka ng legal advice, legal opinion, due diligence, bago pumasok sa anumang kasunduan. Inamin mo kanina na ikaw ang legal counsel for the past 3 years.
But I am not the only legal counsel, Mr.
lumabas
Chair.
kayo na mismo naglabas ha, hindi lumabas ng iba, na merong kasunduan ang inyong dalawang network. So gusto ko pong malaman kung ano pong ang kasunduang ito.
The best person to answer that, Mr. Chair, is the President of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we will take note of that statement and we will call for another hearing this week. Since magana naman yung ano niya, I hope he's well by then.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So everything that you don't answer, we will bring up in the next hearing. Let us be clear. And more questions. So I suggest, kung alam niyo naman po, sagutin niyo naman para matapos na po yung issue.
Based on my information, Mr. Chair, the agreement with the Chinese company is not SMNI or the Suarasug, but it's SMNI Foundation. That's a different company, Mr. Chair.
Ayun na, yun pong partnership ng SMNI sa CGTN kung hindi ako nagkakamali.
Alam niyo, pwede
Correct me if I'm wrong, na ginawan din po natin ng content.
Pwede nyo na lang pong pagsalitain yung bumubulong sa inyo. Pwede po namin i-recognize para mas madali.
I'm the one authorized to talk in behalf of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So again,
So the agreement with Chinese company, based on my information, Mr. Chair, is not yet concluded, Mr. Chair. It's still in the process of negotiation.
so is there any documents that would legitimize your statement?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will submit that next session, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So please submit it to us. So what you're saying is, number one, it's not SMNI Suarasug.
Yes, but SMNI Foundation, Mr. Chair.
But in the news articles that I've read, there was a statement that there will be shared information and production and other shows. So ano pong lalabas doon?
That's why, Mr. Chair, we will submit all available documents, Mr. Chair, if any, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Suarez is, thank you very much. I'd like to ask the Comsec to please acknowledge first our guest before we proceed to the next interpreter. There are members who arrived today. Please.
With the permission of the chairman, the following members are also present in today's hearing. Minority Floor Leader Basilino Lumana, Representative Jose S. Aquino II, Representative Margarita Ignacia Negrales, Representative Ivan Howard Bintu, Representative Joseph Gilbert Dialago, Deputy Minority Leader Franz L. Castro. We also have Representative Jefferson Conghon. Your honors.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Committee of Franchise. The next interpreter is the Vice Chair of the Committee, the Honorable Johnny Pimentel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As stated by the Chairperson, Honorable Gaston Bunting, the Committee on Legislative Franchises will pursue its mandate to deliberate on matters referred to its jurisdiction relating to the granting, amendment, extension, or revocation of legislative franchises. In proceeding with this mandate, the committee will exercise its oversight function to determine whether or not the laws passed upon it are being implemented and carried out in accordance with the intent of Congress. This authority is expressly provided under Article 6, Section 21 of the Constitution, which provides that the Senate or the House of Representatives or any of its respective committees may conduct inquiries in aid of legislation in accordance with its duly published rules of procedure, and the rights of persons appearing in or affected by such inquiries shall be respected. The committee is presently conducting this hearing upon the initiative of the proponents to look into the franchise of Suarasug Media Corporation to determine whether the terms and conditions therein are complied with. We invited relevant government agencies, the grantee, and stakeholders to assist us in proceeding with the investigation, as we will give all parties the opportunity to present to this committee their respective position on the matter in adherence to due process. The committee will not suppress any rights, nor will endeavor to intimidate our guests and resource persons that we invited purposely to assist us in pursuing our mandate. Kami po ay narito para bigyan linaw ang mga issue patungkol sa pagsunod sa mga batas na ating pinasa sa Kongreso para sa ating serbisyo bayan. Let me cite the affirmation from the Supreme Court that the franchise right is a special privilege and certain conditions are imposed particularly to safeguard it against abuses. The committee is being criticized of sharing in on the statements of anchor person Eric Celis regarding the travel expense of the speaker, which we have established to be inaccurate. And Mr. Celis even admitted that he did not verify the information he received. Let me clarify that we are not focusing on this matter, and the committee is also considering other issues in reviewing the franchise of Suara Soup. The grantee asserted that it already obtained a vested right by virtue of the franchise grant and cannot be taken away without due process. But may I also remind you that the very franchise recognized the authority of Congress to amend, alter, or repeal the grant when the public interest so requires, and this hearing is being conducted to accord the grantee the opportunity to address the call for the revocation of the franchise. Mr. Chair, during the last hearing, we deliberated, we discussed on the possible violations of Suara Soup on their franchise, Republic Act 11422, especially on Sections 4, responsibility to the public, Section 10, sale, lease, transfer, grant of use of right or assignment of franchise, Section 11, dispersal of ownership, and Section 12, reportorial requirement. Now, in this hearing, let me expound, Mr. Chair, on Section 4. Because, as I see it, Mr. Chair, it seems that SMNI has a pattern of harassing individuals and entities using false informations. I sincerely believe that SMNI is being used as a tool to spread false information with regards to attacking, maligning, destroying the reputation of certain individuals and entities. Kaya nga, Mr. Chair, in this hearing, I would like to establish, or rather hopefully establish, itong pattern ng serial harasser. Mr. Chair, upon research for the past few days, we have found out that SMNI, or Suara Soup for that matter, is facing several cases. Not only in the courts, but in KBP, MTRCB, NTC, and other bodies. I have in my possession some of the cases, Mr. Chair. One, Concepcion, Empeño, Linda Catapan, and Cristina Palabay versus Suara Soup Media Corporation. Number case number 2022-027. It was filed at the National Telecommunication Commission on June 2022. The complaint arises from an SMNI broadcast featuring an interview with Palparan conducted by Lorraine Badoy. In this interview, allegations were made associating Vice President Robredo, suggesting an alliance with CPP and PNDF. The broadcast specifically referred to the Bicol region as being infested with such affiliations. Number 2 case, Alfonso Tomas Atom Pagaduan Arroyo versus Jeffrey K. Eric Celes and Lorraine Marie Badoy Partosa. Docket number R-QZN-23-08237-CV. It was filed at the RTC Quezon City Branch 306 on September 11, 2023. The episodes mentioned in SMI accused Arroyo of being a member of the CPP, NPA, NDF, producing documentaries and participating in activities detrimental to government efforts. Case number 3. This was filed in the Professional Regulation Commission on April 11, 2022. Bonifacio Carmona versus Lorraine Marie Badoy Partosa Eleanor Hara. The complaint specifies Badoy Espartosa's actions utilizing her government position to spread baseless and harmful accusations against the complainants. Case number 4, Ombudsman cases versus Lorraine Badoy. Again, this is in connection with their practice of spreading false information. Now, Mr. Chair, may I ask Lorraine Badoy, inakusahan po ninyo si former Vice President Leni Robredo claiming that she has an alliance with communists. Meron po kayong ebidensya na nagpapatunay na si former Vice President Leni Robredo ay may alyansa sa komunista? Because you released this statement and accused her of conniving with communists. Because if you cannot prove or you cannot present evidence, then clearly this is a testimony that indeed Lauren Badoy and Ka Eric is spreading false information, which is a violation of Section 4. Pagkasagot po, Ma'am Badoy.
Mr. Chair, yung tungkol po sa former Vice President, yung statement po na yon ay hindi po yun personal na opinion ko. I said all those things as the Strategic Communications Cluster Head of the National Task Force, LCAC at that time, and that was in fact the official stand of our government. Therefore, meron po siyang tinatayuan na ebidensya. Hindi ko po yun personal na opinion.
Pero kayo po ang nag-disseminate ng information na yon.
Opo.
It could be the stand of the government, but kayo po ang nag-air ng akusasyon na yon na si Robredo ay may alyansa sa komunista. Hindi po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, because that was part of my
So in
job.
short po, ginamit ko din yung plataforma ng SMNI to spread false information. Hindi po ba?
Mr. Chair,
Because according to you, hindi galing sa inyo eh. So did you verify the report?
Mr. Chair, that came from the National Task Force, LCAP, and that was our official stand. And the LCAP is made of all these agencies in government. And kaya po sinabi po yon, Mr. Chair, it was as my mandate bilang trabaho ko po na spokesperson ng National Task Force, LCAP, na bago naglalabas ng ganyang statement, meron pong vetting process.
Okay, ma'am, meron po ba kayong dokumento to support this position of the National Task Force?
Mr. Chair, I can produce it.
Okay,
Because
can you please submit that by tomorrow to the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And we would like to see the basis. This National Task Force, this was created by whom?
The National Task Force, LCAP, Mr. Chair, is the Executive Order number 70 that was created by then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and it was continued by the sitting President, President Bongbong Marcos.
So it is still in existence, this National Task Force.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I'm no longer part of it officially.
Thank you very much. The Honorable
Mr. Chair, as I've stated earlier, I would like to establish that SMNI is being used as a tool to spread false information. Ngayon, dito po tayo. SMNI aired an interview in its news channel wherein Ms. Badoy claimed that Ana Patricia Noon, who put up the Maguinhawa Communist Party, had also links to the communist movement. Totoo po ba ito, Ma'am Badoy?
Mr. Chair, again, that was in official stand po ulit yon ng National Task Force, LCAP. Hindi ko po yun personal na opinion. And I can, again, Mr. Chair, submit documents and proof regarding this.
Yes, as stated by the chair, pakisubmit din po dito kung totoo po ba talaga na yun ang stand ng government because kayo po ang spokesperson at that time.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
SMNI also violated numerous provisions of 2007 Broadcaster Code of the Philippines, specifically as regards to the credibility of news sources and reports. Ito po ang palaging problema ng SMNI. Mr. Chair, kagaya ng sinabi ninyo na that the speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos in traveling expenses, pero during the last hearing, nung tinanong ko po si Ka Eric, eventually he admitted na mali pala ang source niya because we presented here documents and testimonies from the Secretary General and the head of the Finance Department, Bobby Maling, proving otherwise na walang katotohanan yung 1.8 billion pesos. So, Mr. Chair, clearly, as I've said, meron ho silang pattern. I mentioned already 4 cases. Ngayon, sa KBP, meron din kaso ang SMNI. Now, may I ask the resource person, ano ang nature ng kaso ng SMNI?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
No, this question is addressed to KBP.
I'm addressing my question, Mr. Chair, to KBP.
KBP, you have the
Because,
floor.
as I said earlier, dahil sa daming fake news, sa daming mga maling informasyon na pinapalabas sa SMNI in their program, in other programs, eh marami yung nga silang kaso. You know ang ina-establish ko. Because of the false informations that you're disseminating, you're faced with several cases proving na marami kayong hinaras, marami kayong hinalain, marami kayong sinira ng reputasyon using false information. Yun po ang gusto kong i-prove dito sa hearing, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, my manifestation is related to the question, Mr. Chair.
May
Again, Mr.
very
Chair.
specific, it is the KBP.
Specific.
Okay, so KBP is recognized.
Meron pong kaso sa KBP, ang SMNI. Ano ho yung kasong yun?
Mr. Chair, the complaint was received only today.
Can you please speak closer to the microphone? Thank you.
The complaint from a certain Mr. Luis C. Raugo was received only today. In fact, I was informed of it only on my way to the hearing. The complaint involves violation of the broadcast code, particularly on airing of unverified reports. Personal attack intended to malign, unfair, criticize, or attack a person, natural or juridical. Speech or action likely to incite any person to violence or antisocial behavior. Vulgar, obscene, or indecent language. Use of vulgar, obscene, or indecent language. And then use of language tending to incite violence, sedition, or rebellion, and name calling of personal insults. May we inform, however, the Honorable Committee that Suarasog withdrew their membership from KBP, and we are informed only of this afternoon.
So, Mr. Chair, so yung complaint po ni Luis Borriago, ganun din po, di po ba? Maling mga impormasyon and maligning the complainant. And yung request po niya is to revoke the license of Suarasog based on these unconfirmed reports, hindi po ba?
The grounds being cited are the same, although the request is to determine accountability for the previous flagrant or unmistakable violations of the law and rules. There's also a prayer for cancellation of franchise.
Okay, so thank you from KBP. Again, ang nakasaad po doon, citing violations of Section 4, responsibility to the public, and prayer for the cancellation, revocation of SMNI license. Dito naman po tayo sa MTRCB. Alam ko po, meron din nung kaso ang SMNI dyan. Mr. Chair, may I ask the former SecGen, Cesar Pareja, to expound o relate to us ano naman po ang nature ng kaso doon sa MTRCB ng SMNI.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
There was a case filed with us which we earlier resolved. This was earlier discussed during the last hearing about the airing of the episode on October 10 of Gikan sa Masa para sa Masa, where death threats were allegedly aired against the Honorable Castro. And this has been resolved. We have called the parties into hearing, and they promised to not to repeat the same, and in fact even admitted that they will be they have decided to pre-record succeeding episodes so that they can avoid having this matter on air. And this was resolved on November 9, and we have a resolution that we furnish this committee. Now, we were informed last time that despite this decision, the entity again broadcast another episode with the same content. So they violated what we have agreed upon, and we have called them to appear before the MTRCB. We gave a notice to them to appear on December 7, this Thursday, to look into this matter.
So to clarify, Mr. Chair, ibig niyong sabihin, Secgen Attorney Pareha, na may resolution na yung complaint. Anong resolution ninyo? They were reprimanded, they were warned, anong resolution nakalagay doon?
They were given a warning that repeat of the similar infraction will be dealt with more severely.
Nakikita po natin, Mr. Chair, pinagsabihan na ho ang SMNI na huwag gamitin yung pinagsabihan ng Suarasug o SMNI, na huwag nang gamitin yung TV network nila sa pagmamalay, pag-haras ng mga tao. And in fact, galing sa testimonya ni Atty. Pareha, pinagbawalan ni sila. But in spite of that, ginawa pa rin nila. So that means, Mr. Chair, very clear na po yun na-establish natin na talagang they are in violation of Section 4. Hindi na ho Kongreso ang nagsasabi sa kanila na tigilan nila yung pag-atake. NTRCB na po. So that is a different entity from Congress.
Yung sinabi po ng MTRCB, kung di ako nagkakamali, correct me if I'm wrong, yun po yung naging sinabi ni former President Rodrigo Duterte sa programa po ng SMNI noon.
I hope, Atty. Pareha, that you will, as you have said, hindi naman sinunod yung warning ninyo, so they will be dealt with severely. And I hope that you will give them sanctions para naman mabigyan sila ng ikangang lesson na they should follow what is stated Section 4, responsibility to the public, interest of the public. So, establish na po natin, 5 na ho yung kaso, ang 6 na ho yung MTRCB. May isang pa bang isa?
We're still, we already notified them, also gave them a notice to appear regarding the episode on the fake news on the speaker's travel. And also on the same day, they will be hearing this on Thursday also.
So, Mr. Chair, establish natin 7 na yung kaso na hinaharap ng SMNI with different organizations. Doon po tayo sa National Telecommunication Commission. I understand na meron din ng kaso ang SMNI dyan.
NTC, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the NTC is concerned, Swatasug also has a pending administrative case. This is under, as mentioned earlier, 2022-027, and also this complaint centers on content aired over the station, specifically involving the former Vice President. So the NTC is here na po kami on this case. The respondents have already been nag-appear na po sila. They have submitted also their corresponding answers. And NTC is for decision na po yung case na yun, but it's still pending for decision by the Commission.
So at the moment, there are 2 cases lodged at NTC. So ngayon pa lang, Mr. Chair, we have not done a full research, pero makikita po natin, siyam na po ang kaso ng SMNI, again, with regards to Section 4, this is responsibility to the public. So Mr. Chair, makikita po talaga natin, SMNI is not a responsible network. Whereas, ang ibang mga TV stations or TV networks na humahawak po ng prangkisa, they are there to entertain the Filipino people. They are there to disseminate important information, especially in times of calamities or news article for the betterment, improvement of the Filipino people. In short, as a medium to disseminate information to the Filipino people. But in this case, nakikita po talaga natin, SMNI is not doing that, but rather, SMNI is being used as a platform to malign, to destroy, sisiraan ang isang tao, isang entity, which is, as I've said, Mr. Chair, a clear violation of Section 4 responsibility to the public. So yun po, Mr. Chair, I hope na nakikita po ng committee itong mga kasalanan ng SMNI, itong mga infractions nila. It is within our power to approve, to amend, or to revoke, or to repeal any franchise holder na nakikita natin who is not in compliance with the provisions in their franchise, in this case, Republic Act 11422. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair John
Mr. Chair.
Mitel of the 2nd District of Davao del Sur. Actually, go del Sur, I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, I stand corrected. Yes, Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to manifest that with respect to the SMNI membership with KBP, we already withdrew last December 4, 2023. So the case pending with the KBP is already moot and academic. And second, Mr. Chair,
Wait, so December 4?
2023, Mr. Chair. Yesterday.
Hindi na sila member ng ano.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I understand why you had to withdraw. We're talking the broadcast code.
Because, Mr. Chair, we believe that the membership of KBP is not mandatory. And in fact,
So if it was not mandatory, why did you join in the first place?
we join, it's an option on our part, Mr.
Precisely. So,
Yes.
but you joined.
So we have the option to be a
Correct.
member. We also have the
Yes.
option not to be a member.
Anyway, we will not anymore.
And second,
Belabor that
Mr.
point. Ay, huwag na ho tayo pumunta ho doon. Basta klaro ho tayo, kahapon lang, pagkatapos ng first hearing, ay nag-withdraw po kayo.
Yes,
Sa
Mr. Chair.
klaro lang po yan.
Mr.
Mr.
Chair, I would
Chair.
like to comment on sinabi ni Atty. Tolentino. Nag-withdraw sila sa KBP. Bakit? Dahil hindi nga nila musunod yung broadcast code of the Philippines. That is precisely, they withdrew their membership because they could not abide by the broadcast code. Hindi nila magawa Section 3, fairness and objectivity. Hindi nila magawa ang Section 5, unconfirmed reports. Hindi nila magawa Article 4, personal attacks. Pati yung mga on-air language. That is why nga this bolsters my accusation, my allegations na hindi sila karapat-dapat bigyan ng prangkisa or bawiin ng prangkisa. The fact that they withdrew from KBP just underscores the need for the revocation of their license. Kaya nag-withdraw, Atty. Tolentino, Mr. Chair, hindi nyo masunod yung code ng broadcasters of the Philippines. Hindi po ba? Hindi ko natatanungin yan. Very clear lang po yun.
Thank you very much,
Mr.
the
Chair.
Honorable
With all due respect to the,
We now proceed.
Mr. Chair.
this chair, with all due respect to the,
Order. Paano na po tayo nag-withdraw kayo, no?
Yes,
At
Mr. Chair.
mamaya po tatawagin ko po kayo. Marami po akong mga membro magtatanong. Please to serve your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Toby Chanco of the Batos is recognized. Silence the President.
Yes, magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair, at magandang hapon po sa ating mga resource persons. Sayang po, binigyan natin ng pagkakataon si Ka Eric na magpaliwanag at pili niyang di magpaliwanag. No? Anyway, since si Dr. Badoy po ang co-host, Mr. Chair, if I may ask Dr. Badoy, ang napanood ko kasi yung last hearing, ang sabi niyo tinatanong niyo kung totoo na ang gastos ay 1.4 billion o hindi. Tama po. 1.8 billion o hindi. Tama po ba? It was in a form of question and it was not a statement. Yun po ang sabi nung last hearing. Tama po ba yun, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, tama po yun. Correct. It was posed as a question.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Dr. Badoy, yes.
I
Sandali
have
po.
been the USB, if I'm allowed to play this, Mr. Chair.
Attorney Tolentino,
Yes.
the lifetime.
Kung yun po ay tanong, sino po ang tinatanong nila, Mr. Chair? Who was the question addressed to, Mr. Chair?
The Honor, Ma'am.
Mr. Chair, may I answer?
Yes, please.
So, as I recall po, Mr. Chair, the question was being posed to Congress and also, I think, COA. It was Ka Eric that asked that question and then we seconded him.
Okay, kung tinatanong niyo po ang Congress, sino po ang tinawagan niyo sa Kongreso at sino po ang kausap niyo sa Kongreso para tanungin? O sino po ang kausap niyo o tinawagan niyo sa COA para tanungin?
Mr. Chair.
Please reply.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, wala po kami tinanong. Kasi parang we were called not to this hearing. Did I answer
No.
the question?
Sorry. Mr. Chair, ang ibig ko pong sabihin, di ba nagpo-programa sila ng araw na yon? Ang sabi nila, tinatanong nila. Di ba normal po pag ang isang media entity nagtatanong, Mr. Chair, tatawagan po nila yung tatanungin nila. Di ba po? Para makasagot naman yung tatanungin nila. So ang tanong ko po, during the program, sino po ang tinawagan ng SMNI from Congress para masagot yung tanong nila? Yun po ang tanong ko, Mr. Chair.
Please reply.
Okay. Mr. Chair, if I can backtrack a little bit, parang nakita niya sa GAA yung 2 billion for the travel expenses. Tapos parang may nag-text sa kanya. Pero to answer your question, after that program, we didn't ask anybody, Mr. Chair.
Hindi po, Mr. Chair. Maliwanag po yung tanong ko, Mr. Chair. Kasi sa atin lang, sila yung nagtatanong at hindi nila sinasabi. Ulitin ko po, tayo, na-interview po tayo, nanonood tayo ng TV. Pag meron tayong tinatanong, meron tayong kausap. Mahirap naman po magtanong na wala kang kausap, Mr. Chair. Sino ho ang sasagot ng tanong kung wala kang kausap? So, sino po ang tinatanong nyo para ma-confirm o masabi yung katotohanan tungkol po doon sa 1.8 billion during the program? Meron po ba kayong tinatanong na tao o wala?
Mr. Chair, yung specific na tao, ang pagkakaintindi ko sa pag-phrase ni Ka Eric ay it was a general question that was addressed to Congress or I think maybe just Congress. But may I also say that lagi namang bukas ang SMNI sa mga tanong kung sino man pwede yun. We always issue an open invitation, Mr. Chair.
Mahirap po yan. It's very unprofessional, Mr. Chair. Members of Congress are being interviewed. Tatawagan kayo. Mahirap naman yung sinabing tinanong, "Hoy, sumagot kayo dito." Hindi ba kung nagtatanong kami, kausap ka, Mr. Chair. Hindi pa pwedeng nagtatanong ka na wala kang kausap. Sino sasagot sa iyo? So the fact na wala silang kausap, it means it was not a question to be answered. Ibig sabihin, they posed it as a question, Mr. Chair, na hindi tayo makakasagot. So, ginamit lang nila yung question na yung salitang tanong para protektado sila ng konti at hindi sinabing nag-aakusa sila. Pero sa totoo lang, Mr. Chair, wala silang intensyon na makasagot. Kasi paano ka na masasagot kung hindi ka tinawagan? Di ba? Ito po, siguro sinasabi nyo gusto nyo ang katotohanan. Paano nyo makukuha yung katotohanan, Mr. Chair, kung wala naman po kayong kausap?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I'm answering for Eric ha, but I'll just really do my best. Kasi parang yung naging impression, siguro yung frustration after the extraordinary funds, the confidential funds, yung usapan na ganyan, na parang ang lumalabas na kwento ay hindi open ang Kongreso sa inquiry. So, parang ganun yata yung pinanggagalingan. But I'm not saying that that's what I believe in, ha? I'm just saying that that was where it was coming from. But it was a very sincere question. Yun po yun. Pero I get your point, Mr. Chair, and we will take cognizance of that.
Di ba po, Mr. Chair, Dr. Badoy, if you want an intelligent conversation, dapat naman may resource person kayo. Po. Dapat naman bigyan nyo ng pagkakataon na sumagot yung mga, kahit diba, may nabasa kayo sa tabloid, babasahin yun. O pwede bang tawagan natin si ganito para madinig naman ang sagot. Pero kung wala pong ganun, mukhang hindi po totoo yung sinasabi na it was a question. It was raised, hindi ko nakita, as a question, just so that hindi pa pwedeng sabihin na nag-ausap. But again, it supports the manifestation of the Honorable Pimentel na mukhang talagang ito yung ginagamit para manira. No? Kasi kung, yes,
Sorry. Mr. Chair, siguro, kasi it was just out of the blue, Mr. Chair, where Eric said, something came up, parang ganun, may nagtatanong dito, ganun. So, hindi kami nahanda, Mr. Chair, na meron kaming naimbitahan. Pero siguro like 90% of the time, meron kaming resource person, meron kaming tinatawagan. That was part of our, yung production process namin, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Pero kung yung ganung bagay, hindi naman siya urgent, hindi naman siya sunog, hindi naman siya lindol, hindi naman siya kalamidad, pwede naman mag-intay yung mga bagay na yun kung talagang gusto nila ng fairness, di ba? Pwede i-verify. E paano yung katulad niya? Lalaman nila later on na nag-apologize sila na mali pala, na-oriente pala sila dun sa news nila. Di ba? Hindi ba mas mabuti kung hindi naman emergency, bigyan nyo muna ng pagkakataon yung kabila. I mean, in all these cases, kasi mukhang hindi nyo binigyan ng pagkakataon yung kabila na sumagot.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes,
respond? May I respond, Mr. Chair, to what you said sa lahat ng mga kasong ito? Mr. Chair, ang naging, sa my personal answer, Mr. Chair, ang naging buhay ko nung sumali ako sa gobyerno, my short stint in government, ay talagang ang CPP, NPA, NDF. At pag tinapos mo kasi yan, pag yan ang kinalaban mo, yayakapin mo lahat. Yayakapin mo ang mga kaso, yayakapin mo ang kasinungalingan, ang pangwawasak ng puri talaga, yayakapin mo yan. So, yung mga sinasabi ng mga kaso, sir, sa totoo lang, Mr. Chair, mas marami pa dyan. Mas marami pa dyan. But napakaganda, nakikita ko ang ating gobyerno, wala namang nag-a-agree. Sa mga, yung allegation is not proof. So, Mr. Chair, tsaka napakaganda that I've worked with some members in Congress no, na nakita nila na napakahalaga nung na talagang tinatanggalan ng maskara ang mga mapandin lang na CPP, NPA, NDF na nasa lahat ng sektor ng ating lipunan. And I know that I stand... Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ganito, Mr. Chair. With regards to the CPP, NDF, NPA, magkaisa po tayo dyan. Walang tanong. All out tayo dyan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All out tayo dyan. In fact, I was the one who defended the budget of the OP and one of the persons was the
I remember,
NDF.
Mr. Chair. Yes, I remember.
So wala tayong pagtatalo dyan.
Yes.
Ang sinasabi lang natin is, yun ulit, hindi logical na gusto mo magtanong at gusto mo na may sagot na wala ka namang kausap. I mean, that is logic. Hindi na kailangan ditong pagtalunan niya. Wala naman lohika na magtatanong ka sa hangin, gusto mo may sasagot sa iyo. So, doon sa parte na yun, sa tingin ko talagang may pagkakamali. Okay. Ngayon, pupunta po ako sa lawyers ng SMNI. Nasabi niyo rin po doon sa huling hearing niyo na lahat po ng programa niyo ay may disclaimer. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. What is the logic of having a disclaimer for all your programs? Ano po ang lohika nun? may prangkisa kayo, may mga tuntunin yung prangkisa ninyo, meron kayong dapat sundin ng mga alituntunin na dapat fair ang reporting, balansyado, hindi kayo naninirang puri. Tapos sasabihin nyo doon sa mga talents ninyo, bahala kayo kung anong gagawin nyo. Wala kami kinalaman dyan. Paano nyo masisigurado na mas susunod nyo yung alituntunin yung inyong prangkisa kung sinasabi ninyo, bahala kayo sa gagawin ninyo?
It doesn't mean that bahala, Mr. Chair. What we mean that we give full, what do you call this? We recognize and respect the freedom of press, freedom of opinion of all our talents, Mr. Chair. And second, Mr. Chair, with respect to the disclaimer, it is a open secret practice to all media practitioners, all media establishments about disclaimer, Mr. Chair. Not only SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if it's an open practice for all media practitioners, Mr. Chair, what do you have a body within your organization, within SMNI, that monitors and ensures na yung mga anchors niyo at yung mga talents po nila ay sumusunod sa fair and balanced reporting?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have.
Ano po yung tawag niyo doon?
We have a grievance committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sino po ang mga miyembro ng grievance committee?
We have the executive producer.
Okay.
We have the associate producer.
Okay.
Researcher. What do you call this?
Sandali.
Hindi po, paano magiging miyembro ng grievance committee?
Sandali po, yung grievance committee nyo, parang may mali. Kasi ang executive producer ng bawat programa, iba-iba.
Yes,
ang associate producer, iba-iba.
Yes,
So therefore, yung grievance committee nyo, walang permanenteng, mga opisyalis. Dahil iba-iba ho yan. Every program has its own set of producers.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have set of producers every program.
So, how can you expect people to police their own grounds? It's not producer nun.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How can they rule in favor or not in favor of anything? It's not producer. I think this is a truthful statement that you have a grievance committee per show.
We have a grievance committee of the entire organization.
Yes, but you
we have also a producer per program, Mr. Chair.
Correct. And you said that those are the officers.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So therefore, per show is a different person. How do you expect that person to, paano siya mag-rule na mali yung ginawa ng anchor, ako yung producer nun eh. Hindi parang pinagalitan ko na ng sarili ko. Attorney, medyo ano po yan. Anyway, the Honorable Topica.
No, Mr. Chair, you can continue. Yan po yung pupuntahan ko. Paano mo naman sasabihin na ako nag-produce, mali yung anchor ko? Paano mangyayari yun, Mr. Chair?
So, anyway, I don't think that really is the composition also of the grievance committee. But anyway, that's what they manifested. So we will have to check that out.
Mr. Chair,
yes. I don't think there's no logic in having these officials or these officers of a program part of the grievance committee when they're supposed to be the people that very violated the law that we're supposed to be grieving about. But
Mr. Chair, clarification lang dun sa point ni Congressman Toby. Last hearing, Ka Eric mentioned that he received a text message on Monday and he was meant to meet his source on Wednesday. So Monday pa lang, hindi pa verified yung report, hindi niya pa nakikita yung dokumento, ni-report mo na. Maski na alam mo, magkikita kayo ng source mo ng Wednesday kung kailan niya ipapakita yung dokumento. Which means, wala talaga silang basehan at wala silang hawak-hawak ng dokumento, di umano, yung dalawang text messages lang, Kong Toby, yung pinagbasihan nila ng report. Yun yung sinasabi nila doon nung nakarang hearing.
Mr. Chair, may I explain, Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Yung pagkakaintindi ko dito, Mr. Chair, yung source ni Ka Eric, long-standing na relationship yan, dekada, kasi kasama niya yan sa CPP, NPA, NDF. So parang meron na silang sariling palakad na they really trust each other already. So, hindi siya yung parang nanggaling lang dito. You get what I'm saying, Mr. Chair, parang matagal na silang magkakakilala. And
mahirap yun.
At maraming beses, siguro yung, hindi lang siguro, sure ako dito, na yung batting average ng kanyang source ay mataas. No?
Yes, just a final manifestation. No? In granting the franchise and in accepting the franchise holder accepts the conditions and the responsibilities of the franchise. So, hindi ko maintindihan bakit hindi niyo papangalagaan at sisiguraduhin na yung mga talents ninyo ay susunod dun sa alituntunin ng franchise. Prangkisa niyo yun eh. Pinaghirapan niyo yung prangkisa, dumaan kayo sa proseso, tapos papabayaan niyo lang. Paano kung may personal na interest yung mga talents ninyo? Hindi naman matatanggal yan. Why are you not policing your ranks to ensure na fair and balanced ang reporting ng inyong prangkisa? So, yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Toby Janko of,
Mr. Chair, just one point before we leave this.
of Naging. Yes, the Honorable Suarez.
Following ABP guidelines and regulations, which used to be a part of, dapat sasabihin nyo doon na this figure is unverified and this figure has not been checked whether truthful or not. Any of those items, di po nila binanggit dun sa telecast. I just want to point that out, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Chair.
Let me follow up.
Yes.
Mr.
Just
Chair.
one. Just one. Dr. Badoy, are you aware kung may pinadala bang screenshot to Viber or any image yung source ni Ka Eric kaya tumuloy siya doon, or it was just a simple text message?
Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of, hindi ko po masagot yan, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, the chair would like, before we continue. Yeah.
In relation to the...
Honorable Ako.
Yes. Madam Badoy, did I hear you correct that you also vouch for the truthfulness of the report of the high batting average of the source of Mr. Selly? You stated that a
Yes,
while
Mr.
ago
Chair.
in answer to the query of the Honorable Chaco. Tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And if you're aware of this, would you know the personality or the name of this person?
No, Mr.
Kasi you're
Chair.
voting for his or her high batting average.
Mr. Chair,
And you do not know his name?
No, may I respond?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Chair, what I meant by that, hindi ko po siya kilala, Mr. Chair. Pero kasi si Ka Eric po ay isang haligi ng National Task Force LCAP sa mga pinaglalahad niya tungkol sa CPP, NPA, NDF bilang dating mataas na rango, kasapi nito, yung katotohanan na binigay niya sa NTF LCAP ay napakahalaga, kung kaya't alam namin na yung mga sources ni Ka Eric ay what's the Tagalog? Very reliable, Mr. Chair. And they usually corroborated by other former rebels. But Mr. Chair, I do get your point.
Mr. Chair, alam nyo, sinabi nyo rin sa sagot ninyo kay Honorable Tiangco, na alam ninyo na membro ito ng CBP, NPA-NDF. Tama po ba?
Mr. Chair, dati. Matagal na, sir.
Paano nyo po alam? Kasi para bang yung mga sagot nyo kanina kay Honorable Chaco, alam at kilala nyo yung taong ito. But when you are asked a question, in so far as the identity of that person is concerned, hindi po nyo masagot. Ngayon, tinatanong ko, membro ba ng CBP, NPA-NDF? Kayo po nagsabi nun. Ngayon, ang tanong ko, tinatanong ko kung alam niyo, sabi mo, dati. Kasi
So after po nung committee meeting dito, sa totoo lang pinilit ko si Eric. Eric, sino ba yan? Ganyan. I wanted to also, pwede ba, sabihin mo, ganun, para tapos na ito, ganun. But he stood fast on his decision. So kung kaya't yun ang isiniwalat niya. And that's all I know about it, Mr. Chair.
from your answer, Madam Berot, Badoy, hindi mo kakilala yung taong yun.
Hindi po.
Hindi mo rin alam
Mr. Chair.
kung siya ay umalis na sa CBP, NPA-NDF. I'm asking this question dahil dun sa sagot ni Mr. Celis na siya ay empleyado ng Senado. Mas takot ako doon. Kasi meron pala sa amin, hindi ko alam, nakasama sa CPP, NPA, NDF.
Mr. Chair, pwedeng sumagot.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, sa order of battle ng CPP, NPA, NDF, siguro si Eric nasa number 1. Yan ang unang papatayin ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa dami ng sinabi niya tungkol sa CPP, NPA, NDF.
Madam,
So
you
hindi
do
ko
not
siya...
have to teach me that. I
Mr. Chair,
came with the military and the police, and I know that. Kaya huwag muna akong lecturean dyan. Ang tinatanong ko po sa inyo ay tungkol doon sa kwan, sa pagsasagot po ninyo sa katanungan ni Honorable Tiangco. Kilala ninyo yung tao sa sagot ninyo eh. But when you are asked questions about the identity of that person, umiiwas po kayo. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair, ang aking observation.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair. Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Very respected police general. Kaya magaling ho mag-imbestiga to. Lahat ng sinungaling nakausap na po nito.
Mr. Chair, pwede.
Thank you. We will now proceed to the next interpreter. The Honorable Lisa Morales is recognized.
Nograles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Para makahinga muna tayo ng konti dahil medyo hindi masyadong sinasagot yung mga tanong natin. If it's okay with the committee, if we go through some violations na lang sa prangkisa nila. I will ask questions and mostly sections 10 and 11,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Please proceed. The Honorable Nograles.
To SMNI, I guess, Attorney Martin, you know?
Yes, I can answer that.
In 2005, Kingdom of Jesus GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
I have with me the history of SMNI.
I am just asking a yes or no question.
About what, Mr. Chair?
Can you please rephrase the question?
In 2005,
Yes or no lang po,
Kingdom of Jesus, in your the GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and the corporation is registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Then, Mr. Chair, sometime you became a sole corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
When did you become a sole corporation?
Okay. In 1990, we're talking of Suarasu Media Corporation or the executive Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Kingdom of Jesus Christ, yes.
So,
Well, it first, like I said earlier, 2005, it was Kingdom of Jesus, right? And it was a non-stop. And then,
in 2006, we amend
yes,
the Kingdom of Jesus Christ to the executive pastor of Kingdom of Jesus Christ by amending Article 1 and converting corporation to corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
so 2006, you became a corporation sole.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And during this time, who is the executive pastor of that corporation sole?
Pastor Apollo Kibola, Mr. Chair.
As an executive pastor in this corporation sole, by definition of the corporation code, he administers, manages as the trustee, properties of the corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
As the trustee, Pastor Kibuloy had the power to manage the assets of the corporation, meaning he may buy, sell, encumber, lease properties, etc. for the corporation, right?
But still in compliance with...
Yes or no lang po, Mr. Chair.
Attorney, klaro naman po ang It's answer first yes or no, and if you would like to explain, you can expound.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but can I explain,
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Yes, of course, but
Magsilang po.
there is a procedure. Not just the pastor will decide. There is a body in respect to the process of changing or with respect to the decision of the church chair.
So the answer is yes.
Yes,
The
thank
answer
you.
is yes, siya pa rin ang...
Yes, for an second.
Kahit may procedure,
Yes,
siya pa
please.
rin, right?
Please.
So does he have the power to sell, manage, buy properties for beneficiaries?
With respect to what year, Mr. Chair?
With his power as the trustee, as the
In what year,
executive
Mr.
pastor?
Chair? Because the executive pastor was already transferred to Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair, in 2020. That's why I'm asking, what year, Mr. Chair?
Before the transfer. Sige.
Before the transfer, yes, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying Pastor Kibuloy, before that transfer, has control over the interest, over the properties of the corporation, thus controlling interest, right?
He is the trustee, Mr. Chair, so subject to
So
the
may controlling
procedure, Mr.
interest
Chair.
po ba, Mr. Chair, dahil siya yung nagmamanage at lahat?
Yan na po. Klaro na po natin sagot. Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair, with respect to the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Yes, okay. So you mentioned that there was a transfer of the executive pastor.
Yes, in 2020, Mr. Chair.
2020?
Yes,
Are you sure?
in the year 2020.
May amended
Yes, there's an
Articles
amendment.
there.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
2020 ba yung nakasulat dyan or 2022? Ang amended AOI nyo. It says, I also have the document. And
Mix.
the committee has the
Kung mix, can you please ascertain the date? 20 or is it really 2020?
I think the committee has the AOI, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
of
okay.
the amended AOI.
Can you please reply? Attorney,
Repeat the question, Mr. Chair.
is it 2020 or 2022?
2022 applied, but approved in 2023.
If
2020.
you have a copy of the,
Repeat.
you have the, you have a, Mr.
Applied
Chair,
in 2022, approved in 2023.
So hindi 2020?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Go ahead.
so, Mr. Chair, if I can just direct to the committee na lang, if you have the copy. Yes, can you please read na lang, he can read, Mr. Chair, the amended articles of incorporation on when the date it was adopted.
Who are you directing this to? The Comsec?
To,
Attorney.
I have with me here, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
yes, can you please, Mr. Chair,
Adopted on December 19, 2022.
so 2022. Okay. And attached there is a transfer, a certificate of appointment.
Yes, Mr.
That's
Chair.
that's the basis, Mr. Chair, for the transfer of the new trustee.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So,
December 19, 2022. Signed by Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, appointing Brother Marlon P. Acobo.
so now it's Brother Marlon Opobo who has the same powers previously of Pastor Kibuloy of
Yes,
the
by
controlling
succession.
interest.
Yes, by succession, Mr. Chair.
Let me direct you to Section 10 of your franchise. The grantee shall not sell, lease, transfer, grant the usufruct of, nor assign this franchise or the rights and privileges acquired thereunder to any person, firm, company, corporation, or other commercial or legal entity, nor merge with any other corporation or entity, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee simultaneously or contemporaneously to any other person, firm, company, corporation, or entity without the prior approval of the Congress of the Philippines. Are you aware of this provision?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Did you get the prior approval of Congress for this shift of controlling interest in 2022? Mr. Chair.
So,
Mr. Chair, may I be allowed to answer that?
okay, active. The Honorable Rolex.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Section 10 give us 3 instances. The first one is not sell, not lease, not transfer, not grant the use of, nor assign this franchise. That's the first instance. Second instance is nor merge. Third instance is
Not transfer, controlling interest.
Not transfer,
without
controlling
prior-
interest.
Yes.
That's a
That-
third instance.
Yes.
Okay, and all of this require the prior approval of Congress.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes, my
so
question, Mr.
So,
Chair,
that
is,
has been cited. Question,
so my,
was it that?
my question is,
Mr.
was
Chairman,
there
so the
prior
process.
approval?
Would you want to answer, Attorney Roy?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Was it,
It's
was
a
there
yes
a
or
prior
no, it's
approval?
a yes or no question.
We have not
Mr. Chair.
sold the franchise.
I'm sorry?
It's a yes or no question if you
No,
got the
there is-
prior
May I ask the lady to
approval.
repeat the question?
No, the question, attorney, the question was there, did you seek prior approval before you did all of this?
Mr. Chairman, there are 3 instances here.
That's why.
So,
We have not sold
sige,
the franchise.
Mr. Chair,
No,
para lang.
that's it all.
That's the first instance, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Wait. Attorney Rolex, meron natin. Meron hong tatlong instances. Each are independent of each other. Question, there was a change in controlling interest, which also requires you to seek the approval of Congress.
Prior to the change.
Did you do it, yes or no?
Mr. Chairman,
can I?
No,
Mr. Chair, can I ask
Mr.
you?
Chair, yes or no lang po.
Attorney Tintino, binigay nyo Attorney Supreme, kukunin nyo ulit.
So hinahanap po ng House Committee mga kaistorya kung ano yung possibility na may na-violate sa franchise ang
There
SMNI.
was no there is no transfer of controlling interest, Mr. Chair.
I acknowledge it. I'm sorry. Honorable,
Kasi,
Mr. Chair?
confused na ako eh.
I'm sorry.
Hindi ko alam kung sino ang lead counsel sa kanilang dalawa. May para alam natin kung sino
The
talaga ang
senior,
dapat
Mr. Chair.
sumunod.
He's the senior lawyer.
Okay.
Oh,
He's the junior lawyer.
Mr. Chairman, point of information.
Okay.
Point of information.
Okay, the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
I think the question right now is whether
There was a prior
there
approval.
was a prior approval.
Yes.
Siguro kung ayaw po nilang sagutin, alam naman po natin sa Kongreso if they gotten a prior approval. We can ask the committee on COPSEC for us to be clarified on this matter. Dahil basically, alam po natin kung nag-secure po sila ng tinatawag nilang specific mode of reporting. Kasi basically, iba itong reporting na dapat nilang gawin.
Salamat, Congressman Dan. Binibigyan po natin ang chance sila dahil ang question mo na rinaise ni Convicts is sa dalawa. Okay, Attorney Tolentino, ipinasa kay Attorney Rolex, then pinapasa ulit kay Attorney Tolentino.
Okay.
Okay?
The provision under the law, Mr. Chair, Section 10 of the franchise says, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee. In this case, Mr. Chair, there was no transfer of the controlling interest because the owner is still the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
The Honorable needs to grant.
Mr. Chair, didn't he explain earlier that it was, first, it was Pastor Kibuloy who had the controlling interest. Then there was a change in 2022.
It was by succession, Mr. Chair, because Pastor Kibuloy technically retires. He's already 73 years old.
I'm not asking about his retiring, Mr. Chair. It's the transfer of the controlling interest.
Alam po ba kayo hindi? Ilan lang sa tatanong ni Kong Mix eh.
Mr. Chair, kung hindi lang nila sasagutin, si Comsec na lang po.
I think the Comsec will answer it.
Per our records, Comsec, since hindi mo masagot nung Attorney Tolentino, hindi mo masagot ng lead ko. Attorney Rolex,
So we can answer, Mr. Chairman. We have submitted our annual reports to Congress, and it's contained there.
Did you ask for prior approval?
Prior approval,
No,
Mr. Chairman, it's information.
Mr. Chair.
Please read the second sentence, Mr. Chairman, after that.
Mr.
Second
Chair.
sentence says,
Mr. Chair.
Attorney,
Congress shall be informed.
so ano po sagot nyo? Yes, nagpaalam kayo.
We inform Congress.
But did you ask permission?
No, we did not. We
Thank
inform
you very
Congress.
much. That's clear. Thank you very much. Okay, Comsec, do you agree with the position that they never asked Congress? They only informed Congress?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as the committee secretariat record is concerned, there was no prior, they did not seek for prior approval of any transfer of their franchise.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, it's our position that what we're talking here is not controlling interest, unless we have a definition of what controlling interest is. By long line of cases, controlling interest is more than 50%.
Okay. Thank you very much. The Honorable Nograles still has the
Thank you,
floor.
Mr. Chair.
Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, may I remind this committee that I think we heard that Attorney Mark Tolentino said that Pastor Kibuloy had controlling interest and was transferred in 2022 to Brother Marlon Acobo. And again, if we look at Section 10, on the first sentence, it still needs the prior approval. Yung sinasabi po earlier na may information, second sentence, hindi pa po tayo nasa second sentence, nasa first sentence pa lang ako, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
You still have the floor, the Honorable Nograles.
Yes. So we've
Silence is
established that
requested. Patapusin mo
wala
natin si Congressman.
pong prior approval, Mr.
Wala.
Chair.
Sinabi
Okay. So the next sentence naman sa Section 10
can I make
is...
any comment, Mr. Chair?
No, you're not allowed. Please
Mr. Chair.
make the Honorable Nograles finish, and I will acknowledge you again.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
The Honorable Ako.
may I remind Attorney Tolentino, nakita mo ba kami, tahimik kami na kahit nakikinig dito? Di po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Makinig ka rin muna bago ka mag-raise ng hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Honorable Ako. The Honorable Nograles.
So now let's go to the second sentence in which Attorney Suplico was saying that you informed. Did you inform of this change? Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Tolentino. O yan, yan.
Mr. Chair,
Pinagsasalita na po kayo.
I'd like to explain, Mr. Chair. The kingdom of Jesus Christ is not just an ordinary
No,
corporation.
no. Can you please, alam po ninyo, can you please explain muna, yes or no, then explain your position?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What? Yes, what? To what?
That there is no prior approval.
Yes,
But
my next
informed
question,
the-
Mr. Chair, tapos na po
What's your
natin.
question?
My question
No, it's a new
was,
question.
the second sentence naman that they should report a change also in controlling interest. It's in the
To whom?
second sentence of Section 10.
Okay, the Honorable Mr. Attorney Tolentino, yan, pinagsasalita na po kayo.
Mr. Chair,
Tatanong, nag-report po kayo.
Yes or no lang po, Mr. Chair.
The good congresswoman says, Mr. Chair, about controlling interests. That's why I may be allowed to explain to the honorable committee, Mr. Chair, what is the controlling interest in relation to Corporation Seoul. Because it is different to say controlling interest with respect to an ordinary corporation compared to a Corporation Seoul, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, can you just reply first, yes or no to the question? First, tapos saka mo yung magpaliwanag kung anong kaibahan ng dalawa. The question raised by the Honorable Nograles, did you report
Yes,
the
Mr. Chair.
change? To whom?
We do it annual
Maybe
reporting
ask
to
Consec
the...
if there's a report,
Consec, did they report?
any change in the controlling interest.
Did they, is there any change in the report?
Mr. Chair, if we could ask Consec kung meron.
So as far as the records of the committee secretary is concerned, there was no reporting as to the change of ownership.
And I just remind again, narinig po naman natin lahat sa committee, di ba? Sinabi naman po ni Attorney Mark na Pastor did have the control over the assets na pinasa. Wala silang prior approval, which is a violation of the first section of, first sentence of Section 10, and wala rin report. So it's a violation of the second sentence also of Section 10. Correct. Mr. Chair.
As for the Consec, yes, you're correct. Okay.
With all due respect, Mr. Chair, if I explain my answer, Mr.
But,
Chair.
you know, can we go with the line of
May I
questioning?
finish my question?
Please explain.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Can we please remind the good Attorney Mark? You know, I think the chair has been very lenient, and I think Congressman Acop has called your attention many times. Your light has been on throughout the whole hearing. So please give enough courtesy to the congressmen
Yes, Mr. Chair.
to give their statements, and huwag kayong mag-alala. Bibigyan namin kayo ng pagkakataon, but please huwag kayong babait habang nagsasalita at habang kinikilala yung oras ng isang kinatawan. May panahon din naman kayo, nakita niyo naman. Siguro kung bibilangin natin sa ratio proportion, mas marami pa kayong oras sa pagsasalita kaysa sa mga congressman. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Magsasalita din kayo. Pagsalita niyo na muna yung mga congressman.
Yes. Take apologize, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Nograles has the floor. Please do not cut in or you just have to answer the question and we'll leave it at that for the moment. If you would like to explain later, then we will give you the chance before we end this hearing. The Honorable Nograles has the floor. Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have, if I can show to the committee a pie chart of the structure of
Do you have it? Video?
Suaraso. Yes.
Okay. So please, there's a video.
Yeah. (2023), please. The next. Yes. So it's. So in this pie chart, you can see in the GIS of Suaraso that Executive Kingdom of Jesus has about 53%, which shows the majority of or control of Suaraso, correct? Mr. Chair.
Address to Attorney Tolentino. Ayan. Nagkasalta na po kayo. Do you confirm this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So, dahil kanina gusto mag-explain kasi ng controlling interest on corporation sole. Sige. Now I'm showing you, di ba? Even if you're going to say na yung iba ang corporation sole, this controlling interest of executive KOG is obviously has the controlling interest at nagkaroon ng switching internally. And did you still get the prior approval and did you report it to Congress, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair.
Yes or no?
There is no provision in the franchise that requires reporting for the change of leadership in the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Mr. Chair, controlling interest po.
Alam nyo, Attorney, hindi na natin pinag-usapan na liderato. Tinanong natin pie chart. Do you confirm this? Na nagkaroon mo ng pagbabago?
With respect to the leadership, Mr. Chair, but not the controlling interest.
I think the committee has heard that
Yes.
we were talking about controlling interest and it was established earlier and the good attorney has
Kinonfirm naman yan.
confirmed. Okay.
We can sustain.
Let's not change words here, ha? Don't put words into our mouths, please. So, if you look at the chart, there is this Phoebus Holdings that holds 46%.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Malayo kasi, ayan, naka-orange po. 40, yan. Okay. So, this Phoebus Holdings, are you aware of who owns Phoebus Holdings, Mr. Chair?
Phoebus Holdings, Mr. Chair, is an investor of Suaraso Corporation, Mr. Chair. I have no personal knowledge, Mr. Chair. All
You
I know
have no
is
personal knowledge?
It is an investor of Suaraso Corporation, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sige. Because he has no knowledge, even if he's the legal counsel. Can we share the next slide, please, that shows the structure of Phoebus from the GIS, which is a public document. So 2022, 2023, can you see the percentage of the Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus ownership on Phoebus? It says 97.16%. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So let me read to you the Constitution naman po. On Article 16, Section 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which says, Congress shall regulate or prohibit monopolies in commercial mass media when public interest so requires. No combinations in restraint of trade or unfair competition shall be allowed. So let's go back to the pie chart, please, of the executive of Suarezog on 2022. So, makikita po natin, Mr. Chair, that the executive pastor, the Kingdom of Jesus, where in 2022, the executive pastor was still the trustee and the one who was the controlling interest, right? Before the amendment, owns 53.46% of Suarezog, correct?
53.46%. Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings
46.22%.
and Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct? So essentially, with the two entities, under Pastor Kibuloy, he holds 99.68%, basically making it a monopoly, correct?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair.
You cannot, Mr. Chair, abogado po ang kausap natin, Mr. Chair.
Kayo po, kayo lang. Marami ko yung share site na hindi nyo na alam.
I know, Mr. Chair.
Ano po sagot nyo?
I cannot see that slide, Mr. Chair.
Okay, let's just go numbers na lang, Mr. Chair. So you said earlier 53.46% ang executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus 2022 when Pastor Kibuloy was still the executive pastor, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings owns how much, ilang percent, Mr. Chair?
46.22%.
Of Suarezog, yes. And as we showed earlier, Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct?
I have no documents with me, Mr. Chair, with respect to Phoebus, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, GIS is a public document. That's why I was able to show the pie chart. So the GIS will show that for the information of the good attorney. So essentially, with the numbers, if you add it, again, I will go essentially, Pastor Kibuloy in 2022 holds 99.68% of the two entities, combining the two entities, correct?
Not, Mr. Chair, because the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ has a separate juridical personality than that of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I was saying 2022, which you said earlier, si Pastor Kibuloy ang executive pastor pa nun, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And
He is the
so,
leader of the
corporation sold
executive.
siya.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And Phoebus nga, 97% is owned by the executive pastor, Kingdom of Jesus.
Parang ganun nga, technically.
Correct? So, essentially, 99.68% ang ownership na to. And citing the Constitution again, pagdating sa commercial mass media, bawal po ang mga monopolies or combinations of such because it's for unfair competition. Are you aware of this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair?
But as what I said, Mr. Chair, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ
Yes or no lang?
has a separate personality than that of Pastor Kibuloy, Mr. Chair.
Tolentino, marami pa ako kasi magtatanong. Pwede lang po muna yes or no bago kayo magpaliwanag. Kasi hindi nyo natutumpok eh. Pwede bang yes or no muna tayo, tsaka kayo magpaliwanag.
Yes, Mr.
Kasi
Chair.
wala akong mangyayari, mas mapaliwanag kayo, hindi namin nakukuha yung sagot. Okay, yes or no?
So essentially, Mr. Chair, with this constitutional provision and the numbers mentioned earlier, na at bawal din ang monopolies, violative sila not only of, kanina we established Section 10, but the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Attorney, yes or
Mr.
no?
Chair.
So,
Mr. Chair,
What is your reply?
yes daw.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just have a request? Due to the enlightening revelations of Congresswoman Mix, pwede ba natin ibalik na yung ilaw?
Yes.
Meron pa po kasi akong papakita.
Meron pa ba?
Meron pa?
Yes, just a short.
Okay.
Sige,
Proceed.
Short. I'm almost done. Don't worry.
mamaya na yung let there be light.
Unless you want to
By
say.
the way, Mr. Chair, Attorney Mix is my co-host before, Pinoy Legal
Yes.
Minds. of SMNI.
And he was also not giving me time to talk during that time.
For almost 6 months, Mr. Chair.
So it's,
And he's doing it the same. And he's doing it again.
okay, proceed.
Okay, so now let's go back to your franchise, diba? You have section 11 now, which states that the grantee shall offer to Filipino citizens at least 30% of its outstanding stock or a higher percentage thereof, that may hereafter be provided by law, etc., etc. So dapat may 30% offered to Filipino citizens, to the public, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And we've already established that Suarez Hope essentially is a monopoly owned na 99.68%. Correct? So malayo to sa 30% na mandato to offer to the public under Section 11, Mr. Chair. Correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I have a letter here.
Yes or no lang?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So yes, there is a violation.
There's no violation, Mr. Chair.
Kanina tinanong ko yung 30%. Mag-add nga po tayo, 99.
That's why,
Diba
Mr. Chair.
hanggang 100 po tayo, Mr. Chair? Tapos 30%. 130%? Hindi, 99.68% na ang monopolized na nga ng executive kingdom. Meron sila under Section 11 na mandato na 30% of their stock should be offered to the public. Has this been complied with?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have here, Mr. Chair, a letter dated June 30, 2022 to SEC and to the House of Representatives, Mr. Chair, informing the House, Mr. Chair, about 30% share offered to a cooperative, Mr. Chair.
May we have a copy of that?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Yan
Okay.
yung
It was
in-offer niyo sa
dated
cooperative.
June 30, 2022, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Can you...
Sige, with math na lang, Mr. Chair. Diba kanina i-establish po natin 99.68 nga. So malamang hindi pasok ang 30%. Pero with that argument, sige, let's go to the pie chart with the cooperative na sinabi po. Which cooperative is this, Mr. Chair?
Kooperatiba. Attorney, anong pangalan ng kooperatiba?
The name, Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Can we show lang yung sa Suarez Hope? I think the second slide, yes. You will see that 0.16% ang Jesus Christ Cooperative. It's not even 1%. And I think 1% is different from 30%. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, we are waiting for the response of the House, Mr. Chair, of that letter.
So may obligasyon pa. Kayo po yung may obligasyon, Mr. Chair. Di ba sila po yung may obligasyon mag-report sa atin? Bakit po tayo ang magre-report?
We are informing the House, Mr. Chair, about the cooperative, that we transferred certain share to the cooperative, Mr. Chair, the Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so that is the only cooperative which...
That was part of your annual report.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What reply are you expecting from the committee or from Congress? You mentioned that you are requiring, that's why you have not complied with, because you are requiring for a response. When this is just part of your annual report.
May I be
You
allowed?
attached it, one of your attachments. Yes, the Honorable,
No, Mr. Chairman, Attorney Suplico. Attorney Suplico.
I am sorry, yes, Attorney Suplico, of course. Who doesn't know you? Elementary nga ako, nababasa na kayo.
Mr. Chair, we have a letter, and we made a study of other franchises with different provisions. Some of them refer to cooperatives. So we are asking Congress, and in particular the Committee on Initiative Franchises, if this will comply with that particular provision before we go ahead and implement it.
Okay. Mr. Chair, yes, is this the 2023 report that you sent on the basis of your encouraging public participation?
Mr. Chair, we compared the same provisions which are differently worded in other franchises. So we thought we're going to ask Congress, and in particular this committee, if we can be given a go-ahead.
Mr. Chair, I believe we have a copy of that.
Let me be clear. I'm reading this letter that you submitted. It's entitled Report on the Dispersal of Ownership, which is part of the annual information sheet that you gave. There is no question. You were just stating a position. There was no question, Attorney Suplico. Unless tatlo ho kami nagbabasa nito. There are two lawyers. And there was no question. You just stated your position, what you were going to do.
Yes.
But, or what you were planning to do. But, like the telecast where you claimed that you were asking a question, but there's nobody answering. There's no chance to answer. Ito rin ho yan kasi wala naman ko kayo tinatanong there's no even, wala namang question mark, wala namang kayo maybe respectfully request for your opinion, wala po ganyan. You just stated the position. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Klaro po tayo ha. Thank you po. Thank you, the Honorable Naglares.
Okay. So I think that says 2023 report. So report nga, diba? And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chair, since you have a copy and I'm sure they know because they reported it. They were basing, and Attorney Tolentino said that they were basing it from other franchises. That's why naglagay sila ng cooperative. Correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair. That's based on our body of letter.
Okay, and does the franchise, this RA 11422, have any wording of this establishments of cooperatives and other methods of encouraging public participation? Mr. Chair.
None, Mr. Chair. None, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
None.
So, violation na rin po yun kasi naglagay sila ng cooperatives na hindi naman nasa prangkisa po nila, Mr. Chair. So, earlier, there's a violation of the Constitution that we've established, monopolized. Hindi pa nila na gawa yung 30% public offering, which is a violation of their Section 11. And even if you will say may cooperative dyan, it's only 0.16%, which is far from the 30% mandate under Section 11 in their franchise, which is a violation also, Mr. Chair, correct?
Anything else, Honorable Naglares?
Yes, I would just like to add also, even you will state your equality clause when I read your report in 2023, you still need the prior approval of Congress. Kung sasayip nyo rin yung different franchise na pwedeng kooperatiba. But you also stated there in your 2023 report, you already completed the implementation of program of the dispersal of ownership. Meaning you still did not acquire the prior approval of Congress, correct? Mr. Chair.
Is that a question? Addressed to
Whoever.
Attorney Tolentino
counsel
or
is.
Attorney Rolex?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may. With due respect to the lady, we did not acquire because we feel that what was transferred is not controlling interest.
I'm sorry, we're talking about the report already on your cooperative. We're done with the controlling interest, I believe so.
We're talking of the cooperatives po.
The 2023 report that you sent, with the basis of why you're including cooperatives and on your dispersal on Section 11 to comply with Section 11. May section 14 din po kasi sa prangkisa nyo that if you're going to say, no, na because your basis was may mga ibang mga prangkisa na
Representative
pinapayagan ng
Nograles,
cooperatives at kung
Magaling.
ilalagay mo naman na may equality clause kayo
Sinisimple-simplihan
sa
lang yung
section
pagtatanong,
14,
pinaikot-ikot.
kailangan nyo pa rin ng prior
Pagkatapos
approval
babanatang
ng
ng biglaan.
Congress. Eh naglagay na kayo ng
Nakakorner eh.
kooperatiba na hindi nakalagay sa prangkisa nyo, hindi pa rin kayo nag-acquire ng prior approval. Tama po ba, Mr. Chair? Yes or no?
May I be allowed to explain?
No. Yes or no?
No, no, Mr. Chairman. Because we wanted to know, Mr. Chairman, it's the position of my client that we wanted to know whether we can also avail of cooperatives. That provision is not found in our franchise, but it's found in the franchises of other, entities.
Yes, and Mr. Chair, I think we established they did not ask us any question anyway. They just reported.
Correct.
And might I direct you to that? You read your report, you already said, you already completed the implementation of the program of the dispersal of ownership. Na naglagay kayo ng cooperative, na wala na nga dun sa prangkisa nyo, nag-implement na kayo, no? Kayo, na wala rin approval ng Congress. Correct? Mr. Chair.
Attorney, yes. Obviously, Attorney Rolex. Ano po?
Mr. Chairman, reading the equality clause on section 14,
Yun nga po, kaya nga inunahan ko na po kasi alam ko lalagay na niya yung section 14. Kailangan pa rin po ng prior approval.
that is why we wrote a letter to this House.
That was, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, may I ask?
Attorney, yes, you did. You wrote us you were not the report. You were stating you were informing us, you were not asking us any question that that needed a reply from the committee. So, if you keep on going back to that, very clear naman po, Attorney, and you acknowledged that earlier, no? Ito'y ini-inform nyo lang kami. At wala naman po kayong katanungan.
Mr. Chair, we acted in good faith, Mr. Chair. We wrote a letter to the House, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Alam po ninyo, good faith cannot be hand on the wall. You have to prove that. And I am of the belief that you keep on signing this letter. And this letter has no question, does not require a reply from us. Because if there was at least a question, then we would have at least answered you. But wala ko kayong tinanong eh. So paano kayo, how can you pass it all to the House or to the committee? Wala naman kayo tinatanong.
That letter, Mr. Chair, proves that we have no intention not to comply all the conditions, requirements in our franchise,
Well,
Mr. Chair.
I think,
Okay, Mr. Chair.
you stated the fact. That's why again, if you go with good faith, I remember the former Solicitor General Frank Chavez when he told me, good faith has to be proven. Thank you very much. The Honorable Nograles.
Okay, Mr. Chair, since sinasabi na lang letter, does the good attorney have a copy of the April 30, 2023 letter, so-called letter, Mr. Chair? April 30.
May I know that letter all about, Mr. Chair?
May dalawa actually.
May I know what letter is not all
Kayo
about?
yung nagsabi letter, may
No,
know
that's
what
June.
letter.
That's June 2022, Mr. Chair.
May April then. Whatever it is. Okay, April or June, sure. Let's look at your April 30, 2023. Do you have a copy of that?
This is what I have is June 30.
Yes. It's a June 2022 letter, Mr. Chair.
So, hold on.
June 30 po itong hawak po namin. Yung binigay
Mr.
niyo
Chair,
dito.
the annual report pala. Their annual report. Okay, sorry. Do you have a copy of your annual report?
of April.
on April 30, 2023, which is the basis of what you're saying on the Section 14 and the cooperatives whatsoever, on the dispersal of ownership. Meron po bang kopya, Mr. Chair? Or I have a copy.
Meron mo ba kayong represent? Sa kasagutan?
Congresswoman has a copy.
Yes, I do have a copy of it.
Okay.
So it says here for hindi ko mapapakita, nasa iPad ko po, but hindi siya letter. It says report on dispersal of ownership.
Yes.
Right.
With
That's the April or June, whatever that is. So yung itong report nila, like I'm saying, that dahil bringing up ang Section 14 po, di ba? Kailangan pa rin ng prior approval, and wala naman pong nakasulat sa prangkisa nila na pwede silang maglagay ng establishment of cooperatives, even if you're using another franchise, another law. As attorneys, I believe you know what's excluded. It's not included in the law, right, Mr. Chair? So since it's explicit, ano po yung, ang Latin po na ayun. Gen Z po ako, hindi ko na alam po yung mga terms. Yes, I'm sure you.
What has been excluded are not included.
Yes. So, and again, we've established earlier you don't have that cooperatives being able to be part of your dispersal ownership, 30%, whatever. Section 11, correct?
As what you said, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And you brought up, Mr. Chair, Attorney Rolex, yes, brought up the equality clause, right? To defend this, kaya niyong ginawa. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Well, Mr. Chair, we wanted to know whether we can be given a green light to implement the same.
Okay, sige. Kasi we're just gonna keep going around in circles. It says here in the last sentence, currently, a cooperative is already a stockholder of the company, which is an alternative mode of encouraging public ownership as expressly recognized by this Honorable Congress in other franchises. Again, gumawa na kayo ng kooperatiba, gumawa na sila, pinasok nyo na yung stock, sila as a stockholder without prior approval, and ang ginamit nyo ang prangkisa ng ibang mga may franchise, not yours. Correct?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, I confirm that. I'm looking at the records. Yes, the Honorable Rolex.
Attorney Suplico, Your Honor.
Yes, please. What is your, what do you have to say?
That's
the last paragraph.
The good Congresswoman was referring to Section 11. Reading Section 11 of RA 11422, there is no timeline stipulated in the said provision. The mere fact that we have already put in place the mechanism and we are just awaiting a response from this honorable committee, that does not mean that we have violated the law itself.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you very
we're
much.
going around in circles.
Okay, so I think we've discussed that over and over again.
Yes.
And we've already, again, the committee and even the COMSEC maintains that there was no question. You were not soliciting anything. You were just stating a fact. And I think what Honorable Lugar is saying is it has not been complied with
But we are
in the
willing
provisions.
to, we are
Yes.
willing to comply, Mr. Chair. Although, since there's no timeline, when are we going to comply? We can comply at any time, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, when we grant a franchise to a grantee, aren't they mandated to comply?
Yes.
At all the time.
Yes.
All the time. Immediately.
Yes.
Not for us to wait for them or to give them time to comply.
Because I
Correct,
think
Mr. Chair?
the question is, did you seek approval? And What you're trying to tell me is if there's no timeline, so you're trying to tell me now that pwede nyo gawin, tapos tangin nyo lang later on.
Not
Kung
anytime,
pwede.
not anytime,
Eh,
Mr.
kasi wala
Chair.
naman timeline.
Not anytime, Mr. Chair. We are willing to comply at any time, as soon as possible,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, let me, Mr. Chair, again, with that argument, babalik tayo. You
So
are willing
question
to
is, why did you not
comply.
do it?
We are willing to do it, Mr. Chair. That's
Why
why,
did you not do it?
because we are waiting for the reply, because under Section 14, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair,
it
bumabalik
divides
tayo.
here.
Let me simplify it na lang,
Okay
Mr.
po.
Chair.
Sige, salamat po, Atty. Tolentino.
Let me just
Kasi,
simplify
alam mo,
it.
paikot-ikot lang po tayo. Obviously, na wala naman kayo tinatanong. All of us atin, you're willing to comply, pero pag tinanong sa inyo, bakit hindi kayo comply? Papatay nyo naman yung letter na wala naman kayo tinatanong. So, paikot-ikot lang po tayo. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to end lang, para matapos na yung paikot-ikot kasi sumasakit na rin yung ulo ko. I will repeat the last sentence. Even if you tell this committee that you are willing to comply, hindi na nga kayo nagtanong, ang nakasulat sa last sentence, currently, a cooperative is already a stockholder of the company, which is an alternative mode of encouraging public ownership as expressly recognized by this Honorable Congress in other franchises. So gumawa na kayo, ginawa nyo na. So, hindi na rin kailangan ng timeline, di ba, Mr. Chair? Kasi ginawa na rin nila at hindi naman sila willing to comply dahil ginawa naman po na walang approval ng Congress. At ang basehan nila ay ibang prangkisa. Tama po, Mr. Chair. I think I simplified that
Yes,
already.
that's
Tama
very
po.
clear. Thank you very much.
I will
Yes.
end at...
And if you have a second round,
Yes,
we'll
I
go
will.
with for
Yes,
second round.
I will.
Just for a follow-up,
Thank you.
there's a request. Pamaloyer, now to the Honorable Stella Kim was recognized. O Marikina.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Actually, Mr. Chair, hindi ko na dapat dagdagan pa ang napakahusay na pagtatanong ni Kong Migs Nograles dahil talagang para sa akin, klaro naman po ang pag-establish ng paglalabag ng Section 10 at Section 11. Kaya lang nga po, Mr. Chair, parang medyo kinakabahan po ako dahil may konting parang flip-flopping po doon po sa pagsasagot nila Attorney Tolentino at Attorney Suplico pagdating po doon sa change in controlling interest. Kaya gusto ko lang pong i-manifest at meron po tayong documentary evidence pagdating po dito sa change in controlling interest. And it has to do with general information sheets of submitted April 29, 2021 and 30 June 2022. And it has to do with the beneficial ownership declaration. And the beneficial owner, as defined by the entity, by SMNI, so sila po mismo ang nag-define ng beneficial owner as follows. Refers to any natural person who ultimately owns or controls or exercises ultimate effective control over the corporation. This definition covers the natural persons who actually owns or controls the corporation as distinguished from the legal owners. Such beneficial ownership may be determined on the basis of the following, and there's an enumeration of those. So in other words, dito po sa page na to ay naka-identify yung mismong tao na kinoconsider nila na may control dito po sa SMNI. At para sa taong 2021, ang naka-indicate po ay si Mr. Apollo Ibuloy. And I can give this to the committee. So even with ownership of only 1.5%, ang siya po ang nakadeklara na merong control. Ngayon po, taong 2022, ang naka-indicate na beneficial owner ay nagpalit. There are 4 individuals this time. Marlon Rosete, Ledu Vihia Ayang, J. Mendoza, Lorice Nepomuceno. So, Siguro po, ito po ay consistent dun po sinasabi ni Attorney Mark na meron pong grupo apart from the executive pastor. So ito na po siguro yung grupo na nire-refer kanina po ni Attorney Tolentino. But kayo pa man, whatever the interpretation is, base po sa dalawang documents, mayroon pong pagbabago sa control. So, on the basis of that po, klaro po na kinakailangan po natin ng prior approval at base na rin po sa kanilang admission ay hindi po naganap ang prior approval at corroborated din naman po ng ating committee secretary na hindi po naganap ang prior approval. At subsequently, hindi rin po naganap ang reportorial requirement after 60 days. And reckoning po is 60 days after December 19, 2022. So, doon po sa section 10, meron pong 2 instances of violations. So, yun po yung aking first manifestation. And siguro, maybe a related question would be for SEC. So, nasaan po ang ating SEC, ang ating, siguro just a quick, ano na lang po, tama po bang sinasabi natin pagdating sa konsepto ng control. So kung nagbago po ang pagdeklara po ng beneficial owner, ay masasabi natin na nagbago po ang control.
From the first, may I be recognized, Your Honor?
The Honorable SEC. Person to SEC.
Yes, we.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Pakisagot lang, lapit lang po niyo yung mikropono sa inyo.
Your Honor, from the perspective of the concept of ultimate beneficial owner, we confirm the correctness of the position of the Honorable Congresswoman.
Okay.
Okay, salamat. And then, Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
moving on to Section 11. So, again po, dagdag na lang po. So, yung sa Section 11 po, pwede po natin itanong sa SEC. So, meron pong Phoebus, I forget the name, the complete name, Phoebus Holdings. May we know from SEC if this is publicly owned?
SEC, is this a publicly owned or publicly listed company? Phoebus?
Your Honor, based on our documents, we can confirm that it's not publicly owned, neither it is a publicly listed company.
Okay, so anyway, just to confirm na that talagang kung anong pagtingin natin, talagang via that mode ay hindi rin makukomply itong pag-disperse ng 30% via change in ownership through Phoebus. Okay, and
SEC, it's not publicly owned, it's not publicly listed, that's what you said. Is it a public utility company?
It's not, Your Honor, it's a holding company.
Thank you very much.
And then, my next set of questions would be for SMNI. So, ang sabi niyo po, meron naman po kayong compliance or sa pagtingin po namin, or at least this representation is may attempt to comply dito po sa Section 11 by way of forming this cooperative. Tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sino po miyembro ng kooperatiba?
Different members of Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
So, miyembro din po sila ng simbahan, tama po ba yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Ano po ang intindi po ninyo dito sa intent ng Section 11? So, dispersal, babasahin po natin yung first part. So, in accordance with the constitutional provision to encourage public participation in public utilities, ano pong intindi po natin dyan? Siguro talangin natin ang ating lead, kasi siya po yung nakakatanda po sa atin. Baka naman, gamitin natin ang kanyang experience at galing. Ano pong intindi po natin? Bakit natin kinakailangan ng ganitong klaseng provision?
Address to Attorney Rolex.
Mr. Chair, I was here in 1998 to 2007.
Okay.
And some of my colleagues there are still here.
Okay.
So it's not bad to be a member in the previous Congress. Anyway, the epigram of Section 11 is dispersal of ownership. So I believe that we are in the right direction. Again, I maintain the stance that we were waiting for the committee to reply to our letter. But then again, if that is the